Chapter 1425. Su Yin returned to the team and quickly got ready to rest because he had to be on standby at all times. Unexpectedly, 2 hours later, they finally had an opportunity to cast their net. The two brothers arranged by the Dragon Battle Special Forces to keep an eye on them finally sent news that the suspicious person staying in the hotel had met with another suspicious person. From the words and actions of the two people, they could already determine with more than 95% accuracy that they were American agents. Today, the two suspects should be at their lowest vigilance because they seemed to have encountered something good that was worth celebrating. They were so pleased with themselves that they found 7 or 8 ladies with long legs and slender waists through those who could never be erased. They went to one of the rooms together. It seemed that these two foreigners were going to openly have their unsightly debauchery in a hotel in Huaxia. This was indeed a good opportunity. As long as the two foreigners were having fun, they would probably lose their vigilance. When the time came, the brothers of the special forces would swarm them, and they wouldn't even have the chance to throw away their armor and escape. They would be completely wiped out, without leaving any room for negotiation. Everyone was ready to go as soon as possible. Before leaving the team, Wan Guangxiao didn't say much. He only told Su Yin that once the other party threatened the safety of the people's lives and property, they should be killed immediately and not be tolerated. Su Yin knew that Adler's people had hurt people in Huaxia. This had always been a thorn in Wan Guangxiao's heart. He would never allow this kind of thing to happen again, so he didn't need to pay attention to enemies who didn't care about benevolence and righteousness. The Dragon Fury team and the Dragon Battle Special Forces were divided into 4 teams. They quietly attacked under the cover of the night. Since they had taken down Christian and Jefferson, the brothers of the Divine Dragon Brigade were full of confidence. The Dragon's Fury Special Forces had started a good omen for them. They were even more convinced that they would be out of control next and completely defeat the other party's people. Adler, that old bastard, could go to hell. Wan Guangxiao looked at his proud students, full of confidence. Ada, you old bastard, you couldn't beat me in the past, and you still can't beat me now. Let me see what kind of ability you have to deal with me. I want to pull out your thorns one by one. Soon, the 4 teams arrived at the 4-star hotel that the 2 foreigners were staying at, which was slightly further away from the city. The agents had indeed put in a lot of effort in choosing their accommodations. This was a hotel with not many people. However, the service was still very adequate. The boss's background might be quite strong. Generally, no one would hear of anyone coming here for inspection. Therefore, people who wanted to play could have a lot of fun. The best configuration in the hotel was the soundproofing treatment. No matter how high you were in the room, no one outside would be able to hear you. It couldn't be helped. The soundproofing was just that good. However, this also reduced the chances of the people in the room being disturbed by the outside world. Even if it was late at night, it wouldn't be so easy to be woken up by high heels passing by the corridor. Each of the 4 teams had their own mission. Dragon John had 2 teams. One was responsible for guarding the surroundings of the hotel. One was to prevent the other party from escaping. The second was to prevent the other party's reinforcements. The other team was responsible for protecting the guests of the hotel and preventing all kinds of unpredictable situations in case of a riot. This was their responsibility and obligation. Therefore, they must make proper preparations in this regard. The 2 teams of Dragon Fury were responsible for the main attack. The team led by Su Yin was responsible for breaking through the scene and subduing the other party. Once an accident occurred, the second team led by Hua Leitang would provide timely reinforcements. They would suppress the accident and regain the initiative. After careful arrangements, Su Yin and the others began to carefully surround the guest room where the debauchery party was going on. The person in charge of the hotel was also confused by the red document. However, he didn't have the ability to stop these people. He could only let them do as they wished. If something really happened, the person in charge of the hotel believed that the boss would absolutely not let these guys off. After all, the boss had a strong background. If this brat knew that even the famous Song Xiangxiang wanted to use his connections to deal with Su Yin, who was the leader of this group of people today, he would definitely slap his own mouth and say that he was looking down on people. Everything was ready. Su Yin moved swiftly and decisively. With a kick, the door of the suite was kicked open. The door flew into the room and heavily fell on the ground with a bang. The noisy music and moaning in the room could no longer be concealed. Under the dazzling and ambiguous light, two well-built foreigners who had already taken off their clothes and 7 or 8 girls with long legs and slender waists who were barely covered were hugging each other. Facing the sudden rush of numerous well-equipped Special Forces members, the 2 agents under General Ade withered in an instant. They had never thought that they would encounter a sneak attack at this time. They also never thought that the other party would be able to catch them by the tail at this time, find their hiding place and give them a fatal blow. Su Yun had rushed in so decisively, because he had already thought it through. Regardless of whether these 2 were agents arranged by Ade, soliciting prostitutes was a crime, and it was not wrong to arrest them. But now, seeing the reaction of these 2 people, he instantly concluded that there was absolutely no mistake in his judgment. These 2 guys were definitely Adler's subordinates. This kind of calm performance in the face of a battle was not something that ordinary people could do. The room was filled with shining white long legs and big meatballs scurrying around in search of clothes to cover their bodies. They were all cursing in their hearts. It was not easy for them to find a job that paid well, but now all of them had fallen into it. This crackdown on prostitution was too sudden. The gust of wind in Dongguan had already blown away. Was it going to happen again? Big Brother police, we were all forced. This matter has nothing to do with us. You have to arrest them. There were 2 girls who had said from the start that they could not come out. If they wanted to play, they could just go to their own place. They regretted it. If they had known earlier, they would have persevered and not come out. Nothing would happen to them in their own territory. All of you shut up. Put on your clothes and squat properly. Qianfeng scolded angrily. These girls who came out to do business with their bodies were all trembling and squatting in the corner. Looking at their skillful posture, they were also experienced on the battlefield. It was another group of useless people. Soliciting prostitutes in Huaxia would at most be fined, right? The 2 foreign agents were calm. The 2 of them made a decision with one glance. They would pretend. If they did not admit their identity, the other party would not be able to do anything to them. How could Su Yun be fooled by their little tricks? He gave a look to his brothers behind him. Qianfeng was the first to understand. He stepped forward and gave a high whip kick. It landed directly on one of the agent's face, causing him to flip 360 degrees in the air before landing heavily on the ground. Hua Xiaolu was not careless either. He punched the other agent's face fiercely, causing blood to splatter all over his face. His mouth and nose were bleeding profusely. These 2 guys were really patient. They could even endure this. You can enforce the law if you want, but you can't hurt people as you wish. I want to file a complaint against you. Pretending, right? Fine, then continue pretending. Su Yun sneered. Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu swung their arms again. After 3 to 5 rounds, the 2 agents who did not take any precautions were completely beaten into pig heads. However, they still did not make a move. They stubbornly refused to admit their identity. You guys are indeed good at pretending. But do you think that ordinary people can withstand the fists of my 2 brothers? Su Yun said indifferently. If you continue pretending, I won't let them stop. You guys only have 2 choices. 1 is to admit your identity and leave with us. 2 is to be beaten until you can't take it anymore and start fighting back, exposing your identity. If you want to escape, I don't mind telling you that there is another team outside the door. There is another team in the hotel lobby. There is another team around the hotel. After saying that, Su Yun spread his hands. Since you know that you can't escape, then make your own choice. However, let me remind you that I don't have much patience for your people. As expected of Yanlong. You are indeed not simple. The other party finally relented after weighing the pros and cons. They could not escape. Not to mention 4 teams. Even if they faced 1 team, it would not be easy for them to escape. Chapter 14:26. Even though he had the 2 men under his control, Su Yun still didn't let his guard down. He had already seen the standard of the agents groomed by General Ade through Christian and Jefferson. Although these agents' identities were secret enough, they could still be found internationally. After Christian and Jefferson were arrested, Matthew used his computing talent outside of the military to finally crack the deepest data in the database of General Aid's agents after 37 hours. He found a list of 13 people, including Jefferson and Christian. He downloaded all the information on the 13 people and created a scanning application as fast as he could. He installed it on the handheld devices of all the Special Forces members. Now that the two men had admitted defeat, Su Yun signaled for Qianfeng to use the handheld device to confirm their identities. Qianfeng laughed and took out his handheld device to scan the face of the guy he had beaten into a pig's head. Come, smile, let me see who you are. As he spoke, he scolded to himself. F***ck, if I had known, I wouldn't have hit him so hard. His face is so swollen that it looks like a steamed bun. Don't scan out a new version of Xiaolongnu. I won't be able to accept that. Let me see. This guy's face is tough, so it's not that swollen. Hua Xiaolu also took out his handheld device to scan the face of the other man he had beaten up. Soon, the scanning devices in their hands were confirmed and fed back with the information from the remote terminal. Matthew was awesome. The scanning software he had designed could actually identify the two men who were so swollen. It was really awesome. The identities of the two men were confirmed immediately. The man who had been beaten into a steamed bun by Qianfeng was called Beagle. He used to be the third leader of the internationally famous Black Tiger mercenary group. However, because he disagreed with their boss on some matters, he didn't listen to their boss's orders and stubbornly offended the Wolf King Yi Qian of the Wolf Fang mercenary group. In the end, he was brutally killed by the other party's people. Black Tiger's boss didn't dare to offend the Wolf King, so he could only expel him from the Black Tiger mercenary group. However, Beagle was not someone who would give up easily. He gathered a group of people from somewhere and used the name of the Black Tiger Mercenary Corps to provoke Wolf's Fang again. This time, things were getting out of hand. In order to appease Yi Qian's anger, everyone in the Black Tiger Mercenary Group received an order from their boss to put Bigger on the global wanted list. If they found this guy, they were to kill him without mercy. They were not allowed to leave him alive. He was a scourge to Black Tiger. Beagle had nowhere else to go and hid in a mountainous area in Indiana, United States. This mountainous area had the famous Dark Forest. There were many terrifying legends about it. No one who entered the Dark Forest could come back alive. Indeed, there were very ferocious bears in the Dark Forest. If ordinary tourists and hunters entered, they would all be torn apart by the bears. However, the legends said that there were demons in the Dark Forest, bloodthirsty demons. Therefore, neither locals nor tourists would enter the Dark Forest. Over time, there were many suicidal people who came here to seek death. Indeed, no one could come out alive. Therefore, the legend of the Dark Forest became more and more daunting and terrifying. No one was stupid enough to come here to look for traces of him. In order to stay alive, Beagle would hide at the edge of the Dark Forest whenever he sensed danger. Ordinary people would not rashly enter the Dark Forest and cause trouble for themselves. However, there was one time when he sensed danger and hid in the Dark Forest. However, no matter how deep he hid, the pressure kept coming closer. This pressure wasn't given to him by the people who wanted to capture him, but by General Aid's men. General Ade had brought his agents here for death training. The more it was said that they couldn't enter a place, the more he wanted to bring his elite agents to conquer it. This way, not only would their strength increase rapidly, but it would also train their courage and make them fearless warriors. They would become the sharpest blade in the world. Just like that, Beagle was forced into the depths of the Dark Forest by General Aid's men and encountered a pack of bears. If one was born in 1985, they would have seen an American superhero cartoon called Shera. Every time the protagonist encountered danger, he would raise his arms and shout, "Please give me strength, I am Shera." And so on. There were awesome skills such as the speed of a leopard, the strength of a bear, and so on. One could imagine how terrifying a bear's strength was. A bear might not be a big deal to people like them who had experienced countless battles of life and death, but a pack of bears was different. Even the person with the strongest stamina in the world could not survive the siege of a pack of bears alone. Soon, Beagle was besieged by the pack of bears. After he killed a few ferocious brown bears, he saw more and more bears appear, and realized that he was doomed this time. A bear king that could command dozens or even hundreds of brown bears appeared. That huge and terrifying size almost suffocated Beagle. It was almost twice the height of an ordinary bear. Just as Beagle closed his eyes and prepared to die, General Aid's agents swarmed forward and used their superb teamwork and advanced weapons to repel the pack of bears. Beagle realized that these people were not from the Black Tiger Mercenary Corps. The Black Tiger Mercenary Corps did not have such terrifying combat ability. Moreover, they would not arrange dozens of people to capture him at the same time. When General Ade saw that he had actually survived the siege of the bears, he took a fancy to his ability and asked if he was willing to join his team and become a special secret agent working for the United States government. Beagle, who had been forced into a corner, was of course willing to do so. General Ade was his savior. From then on, he followed General Ade and worked like a horse without any complaints. Even if he had no status, he was willing to do so. The other guy who was kicked into a pig's face by Hua Xiaolu was called Yanni. He was adopted by General Ade when he first set up the secret agent department. At that time, Yanni was only 7 years old and earned a living by fighting in the underground boxing market. His fate was tragic. Was he adopted by his parents? He was sold to the United States and caught the eye of the manager of the underground boxing market. After some training, he began to fight at a young age. At that time, Yanni was only 7 years old and had already participated in adult competitions. Although he did not have an advantage in terms of height and arm span, he was able to achieve a record of 37 consecutive victories in the underground boxing market. He even defeated 2 very strong guys. He was soon spotted by General Aid's scout who brought General Ade to see him. That day, Yanni lost his first and only match in the underground boxing ring. After that day he left with General Ade and did not fight again. The match that day was very exciting. Because of Beagle's 37 consecutive victories, many people bet on him because his opponent was a person who had never played a match before. Although Beagle was only 19 years old, a full 12 years older than Yanni, he was still not favored by many people. However, this was exactly what the bookmaker wanted. When everyone blindly placed their bets on Yanni, they did not know that his opponent was a genius boxer who had conquered Europe's underground boxing scene in just half a year. General Ade went to the venue to watch the match. Before the two of them even started fighting, he knew that Yanni would lose. The result was obvious. After 2 rounds, Yanni was unable to fight back. Although he was strong enough, far stronger than his peers by thousands of times, he still could not withstand the terrifying strength of his opponent. Yanni's loss caused 99% of the people in the boxing arena to lose their bets. Everyone angrily blamed Yanni and wanted his opponent to kill him. Yanni also accepted reality. At 7 years old, he was already tired of this kind of life. If he died, so be it. There was no point in living. At that time, General Ade shouted and stopped the opponent who was about to attack Yanni. With a look, 2 of his men immediately came forward and quickly subdued the opponent. General Ade publicly said that today's boxing match was deliberately set up for gambling, so all the bets would be returned. He also said that the little boy could not be killed. Of course, the bookmaker of the boxing arena was unwilling. He immediately gathered his men to ban the guy who was disrupting the game. However, General Ade only took out his identification badge from his pocket. The owner of the boxing arena was so scared that he almost knelt down. General Ade was not someone he could afford to offend. General Ade did not say anything. He just took Yanni away and kept him by his side to train. From then on, Yanni found his own hope in life. Although he suffered more under General Ade, he felt that he was living like a person and was no longer just a tool used by his boss to make money. His sacrifice for the country was a meaningful life. Chapter 1427. Although Su Yin did not have a detailed story about them in the information he received, the fact that one was a member of the Black Tiger mercenary group and the other was a 7-year-old who had entered the underground boxing ring meant that they were not simple people. Although the 2 of them looked rather pathetic now, Su Yin could not guarantee that they would not deliver a fatal blow in the blink of an eye. Therefore, he did not dare to let his guard down. Even so, they still made a mistake. While Qianfeng was about to tie him up with a rope, Beagle suddenly tore off the coats that the two ladies had wrapped around themselves and pushed them towards his brothers from the special forces. The two girls who were barely dressed were pushed out at the same time. Everyone would unconsciously avoid looking at them. After all, these men were all decent people. Even Su Yun could not help but avert his gaze. In that instant, Su Yun realized that something bad was going to happen. Although it only happened in the blink of an eye, Beagle and Yanni both got a chance to catch their breath. Each of them quickly took a lady hostage. If Su Yun and the rest dared to make a move, they would immediately kill the hostages. Don't move. If you don't want your people to get hurt, put down your weapons. Beagle scolded angrily. I'll only give you 10 seconds to consider. If you don't put down your weapons, I'll kill this woman immediately. General Aid's men were really despicable. They would not let go of any opportunity. Even a few innocent women could become their life-saving talismans at a critical moment. There was probably nothing in this world that they could not use. Since that was the case, Su Yun could only follow the main force's instructions. Although the hostages were being held hostage, Su Yun did not panic at all. Once the other party grasped this weakness of theirs, it would not be so easy to capture them. Su Yun made a gesture. Not only did everyone not follow his threat to put down their weapons, but they also aimed their weapons at them even more vigilantly. They did not seem to be threatened at all. Because everyone had a tacit understanding, no one hesitated. They believed that their boss would never leave the hostages alone. Even if they were just a few vain women who would be a waste of resources, he would not give them up so easily. After all, these were human lives. Su Yun must have his reasons for doing so. If Su Yun dared to let them raise their guns, he would dare to guarantee the safety of these hostages. He was that confident. He was not at all vague. What do you mean? Yen Long, don't forget our identities. I believe that in such a short distance, our hands are not necessarily slower than bullets. Beagle said ferociously. If you want these two innocent women to go to hell with us, then continue to do so. 10 seconds, I'll give you another chance. I'm counting. Listen carefully. 10, 9, 8. Beagle's voice was full of uncertainty. How could this escape Su Yun's ears? Even Beagle himself did not believe that he could threaten Su Yun with the lives of a few prostitutes. It was no wonder that Su Yun was forcing him. 7, 6. You can just say 3, 2, 1. Su Yun finally spoke. After I say 1, I don't know if you can really kill the hostages in your hands, but I can guarantee that my men will definitely kill the two of you. Whether you hurt the hostages or not, you're dead meat. There's no doubt about that. Now I'll give you a choice. Release the hostages, and I can at least guarantee that you won't die now. Beagle's countdown stopped. He did not dare to take the risk. So what if they could kill the two hostages? These were two prostitutes. How could their cheap lives be compared to theirs? They were secret agents that the government had painstakingly trained. If a life for a life, it would only be worth Su Yun's life. Exchanging a life for a life with two prostitutes? Wasn't this too much of a waste? If you don't want to count, I'll count for you. When I count to 1, they'll immediately open fire. So don't wait for me to count to 1 before releasing the hostages. I'm afraid my men won't be able to hold them back, Su Yun said casually. The prostitutes present started sobbing. How could they have known that they would encounter such a terrifying thing when they were doing business? Seeing that these people were about to use their weapons and that their two sisters might die in front of them, they all began to regret choosing this profession. If only they were decent people. Even if they were just cashiers in a shopping mall or waitresses in a restaurant, they would not have ended up like this, where their lives were in their hands. 5-4. Su Yun did not give them a chance to consider. He was afraid that they would suddenly realize that he was just trying to provoke them. If that happened, Su Yun would be the one who lost the bet. 3. Wait. Beagle could not withstand the immense pressure from Su Yun. I'll release the hostages, But I have a condition. Su Yun ignored him. You have no right to negotiate with me. Then he continued to count. 2. Release the hostages. Beagle did not wait for Su Yun to finish his sentence, and gave the order to Yanni beside him. Although Yanni had joined General Ade earlier, He was younger than Beagle, so he would still listen to Beagle's orders. The moment Beagle gave the order, Yanni quickly released the hostages. Beagle also quickly pushed the hostages out. They were worried that the bullets would be faster than them. Su-Yun's lips curled into a smile. Hearing this, Beagle and Yanni were dumbfounded. They had already released the hostages. Were they going to shoot again? This was too untrustworthy. General Ade had told them that Huaxia soldiers were very trustworthy. If they agreed on something, they would not go back on their word. If necessary, they could even use this against them. But they did not expect that there would be Huaxia soldiers who did not keep their word. After a moment of shock, the bullets did not go off. And Su-Yun did not say one either. Instead, he sang proudly, "Iao ao ao, ISI ISI kiki, ISI kiki, ISI ao, ISI OSI kiki, ISI kiki." Beagle and Yanni's emotions were like the title of the song. They were extremely nervous. They did not know what Su-Yun meant at all. They also did not know what Su-Yun was trying to express. But with those guns still in the air, they did not dare to underestimate the enemy. "Put on your clothes and get out." Qianfeng felt that it was his mistake that gave the enemy a chance to turn the tables. So he blamed himself. Naturally, he vented his anger on these peripheral women. At this time, Beagle suddenly realized that Su-Yun was forcing him. If he really did not release the hostages, the special forces would definitely not dare to open fire. This was because the hostages were not limited to the two in their hands. The women on the periphery were also defenseless. Once the gunshots were fired, it would not be just one person who would die. "Captain Yanlong, I have been with the general for so many years. There are not many people I admire. But you are one of them," Beagle said calmly. "But don't be happy too early. Do you think you can do anything to me just because you let these people go? No, we still have a more important card. Don't try to play mind games with me. Your people have already committed murder in Huaxia. I have the right to kill you at any time." Su-Yun said, "You better cooperate. Don't force my hand." "What if I want to force you to do it?" Beagle said fearlessly. Su-Yun's face darkened. Then he would really have to teach them a lesson. "Green Dragon, do it." Qianfeng was stunned. But seeing the determination in Su-Yun's eyes, he did not hesitate. He was about to fire as an example. Beagle also knew that he had challenged Su-Yun's bottom line. The moment Qianfeng was about to shoot, he shouted a name. "Yu Jiaqian." Su-Yun suddenly turned around and pressed down Qianfeng's gun. Bang! A bullet pierced the carpet in front of Beagle. "What did you say?" Su-Yun walked to Beagle with a dark face. "Say it again." Chapter 14:28. A cold smile appeared on Bigger's face. "You should know very well who Yu Jiaqian is, Captain Yanlong. I can tell you quite clearly that Yu Jiaqian is now in our hands. If you dare to lay a hand on the two of us, I guarantee that my companion who is controlling Yu Jiaqian will make her suffer a fate worse than death. And the cause of all her pain will be you, Captain Yanlong. You have to think clearly about what you should do." The other members of the Dragon Brigade did not know about Yu Jiaqian's situation. Su-Yun did not talk to them about it either. Now that he was so nervous, his thoughts were all on the American agents. But it was not difficult for them to see from Su-Yun's face that the person Bigger was talking about was definitely Su-Yun's weakness. Otherwise, Su-Yun's face would not have suddenly become so gloomy. These bastards really did not know what was good for them. They actually dared to poke at Su-Yun's sore spot again and again. The atmosphere at the scene was so quiet that it felt strange. Bigger and Yanni were not the only ones who felt the pressure now. Even the members of the Dragon Fury team could feel the invisible murderous intent in Su-Yun's aura. They all knew that their boss was angry. Because of Matthew, Jefferson had already colluded with Song Xiangxiong to harm Yu Jiaqian's father. And now he was going to make a move on her. The Yu family was the most innocent party in this matter, but they were pushed to the position of the victim again and again. This was really unfair to ordinary people like them. Why did ordinary people have to bear the burden of their disputes? Su-Yun would never allow it. "If Captain Yanlong does not believe me, I can explain it more clearly," Bigger said. Bigger said, "You thought that we didn't know what you were doing. In fact, when you arranged for people to track us down, we also tracked you down. You didn't alert the enemy, and we didn't alert the enemy either. When you were in the hospital, our people had already confirmed your identity. After you left, Miss Yu Jiaqian was taken away by our people. Su Yun struck without warning. With a swift strike, his iron-like fingers grabbed Beager's throat and lifted him into the air. Beagle had no choice but to let Su Yun subdue him as he was constantly threatened by the weapon. The sudden feeling of suffocation made him regret angering Su Yun. The lack of oxygen in his brain also caused him to enter a semi-conscious state. Think about the consequences if you kill him. Yanni saw that Beagle could no longer speak, so he immediately threatened. How did you kill him? I believe that our people will pay you Jiaqian back tenfold. She's innocent. You don't want her to be implicated, do you? Hua Xiaolu and Qian Feng raised their spears and smashed them into Yanni's face at almost the same time. This bastard actually knew that the people involved were innocent. Then why did he still attack those innocent people? These shameless bastards were so shameless that it was hateful. If it were not for the fact that they had an important hostage in their hands, they would have executed these two men on the spot, lest they continue to harm others in the world. Su Yun really wanted to strangle the man he was controlling, but his rationality controlled his emotions. This was also something that none of Dragon's Fury's brothers had expected. Su Yun actually didn't continue to be angry. Instead, he held back the emotions that he usually couldn't control. This was truly somewhat inconceivable. It seemed that Su Yun's control over his own hostility had improved significantly. Boss. Han Zhan did not know what to say. Although Su Yun had already controlled his violent emotions, he knew that Su Yun was still emotionally unstable. If the other party continued to provoke him, the consequences would be unimaginable. No matter what the reason was, Han Zhan did not want Su Yun to lose control and kill him. If that happened, things would fall into an uncontrollable situation, and the trouble would be too big. Su Yun calmed himself down. He knew that he had to stay calm at this time. Han Zhan's shout had completely suppressed the turmoil in his heart. He did not loosen his grip on Beagle's neck. This guy's vitality was definitely stronger than ordinary people, so Su Yun believed that he would not die if he choked him for another minute or two. To deal with this kind of person, he should be severely punished. Su Yun's gaze stopped on Yanni. Where are they? Give me an answer, and I'll spare your lives. Captain Yanlong, you're very smart, but we're not stupid, Yanni said. Yanni said, if I tell you where they are right now, you'll definitely find them immediately and give them the most lethal attack. When that happens, not only will we not get any benefits, but we'll also be branded as traitors. Captain Yanlong, there must be a solution to this matter. You'll have to think about it yourself. Su Yun did not need to think to know what Yin and I meant. Their lives might be the only way for him to get Yu Jiaqian back, but if they were to use these two people to get Yu Jiaqian back, it would be a huge loss for them. It would also mean that they had completely alerted the enemy. In the future, if they wanted to use this kind of surprise attack to catch turtles in a jar, they would probably not be able to catch anyone. What should they do now? Faced with the interests of the country and Yu Jiaqian's safety, Su Yun was really in a dilemma. If he was the one being caught, he would definitely choose the interests of the country. Because in his line of work he had to sacrifice everything for the interests of the country. But the person being sacrificed was not him, so he could not be so calm. The interests of the country were important, but Yu Jiaqian was also very important. Su Yun could not base his victory on the sacrifice of ordinary people. Innocent people should not be implicated. As a member of the Dragon Brigade, if he couldn't even protect the safety and interests of an ordinary person like Yu Jiaqian, how could he protect the country's safety and interests? The old saying was right. If you don't sweep the house, how can you sweep the world? This was the same principle for everything. If he couldn't even protect Yu Jiaqian, how could he, Su Yun, still have the face to say that he was protecting the country? Soon, Su Yun made a decision in his heart. Everyone was waiting for Su Yun's decision. No matter what decision Su Yun made, his brothers would definitely obey his orders. I'll use the two of you to exchange for her. That's not a loss for you, right? Su Yun sneered. If you want to talk about other conditions, I'm afraid I can't comply. But you'd better remember, this is the last time you'll use an ordinary citizen of Huaxia to achieve your goals. If you want to compete, then compete with us. If you continue to hurt innocent people, don't blame us for giving you a taste of your own medicine. Yanni did not understand the meaning of this sentence, but he could tell that it was not something good. Suyin took the scanner and said to him, "If we can find out your identity, we can definitely find out the people you care about. Every one of you has someone you care about and want to protect. If you don't want them to be hurt, then remember what I said." At this time, Suyin let go of Beagle. Beagle was dying. He even suspected that if Suyin hesitated for another 3 to 5 seconds, he would not be able to catch his breath and would die in his hands. Beagle, who was greedily enjoying the air, no longer despised the air quality in Yanjing. Even if he was given a mouthful of 100% smog, he would not hesitate to breathe it in, right? "Take me to find her now." Suyin gave the order without hesitation. At this time, Suyun's team outside the door also knew what happened in the room. Hua Leitang walked to Suyun's side hesitantly, and reminded Suyin if he should discuss this with the main force. Suyun's answer was very simple. There was no need. He believed that the chief would definitely support his decision. As the chief commander of the Dragon Brigade, Wang Guangxiao naturally understood the simple principle of how to conquer the world if you don't sweep the house clean. If they did not care about the safety of an innocent person, everything they did would be meaningless. In that case, even if they won the final victory against General Ade, it would be meaningless. Chapter 1429. Captain Yanlong, what do you think our people will think when they see us in this state? Bigger finally had a chance to breathe. They will pay you back 10 times, 100 times what you did to us. As long as the hostages are safe, I don't mind doing whatever you want. Suyin didn't avoid Bigger's provocative gaze. As long as it's between us, I believe we can resolve it. But once innocent people are involved, there's nothing to talk about between us. This is also my last warning to your people. Huaxia won't tolerate your impudence. Bigger wanted to take advantage of the situation to teach Qianfeng a lesson. But because of the terrifying aura emanating from Suyin, he had no choice but to endure it. But he would never let the humiliation go so easily. Bigger believed that he would definitely have a chance to take revenge on this bastard. "Okay, I'll take you there. But the condition is that only 3 of you can go. And you can't bring any weapons," Bigger said. "I can't take you to see the hostages when so many of you are armed. With the strength of your special forces, you can annihilate us all in one fell swoop. Captain Yanlong, I've made myself very clear. You should know very well that my request isn't too much." Hearing this, Hua Leitang definitely wouldn't agree. "That's impossible. We don't know how many people you have and how many weapons you have. How can we be sure that you won't take advantage of this opportunity to kill us?" Bigger shrugged his shoulders. "If that's the case, then I really don't have any other choice. Then we can't reach a consensus. I didn't let Captain Yanlong go alone, because I considered that you might have concerns and thoughts. If you can't understand, then I can't do anything. Trust is mutual. Obviously, there's no trust between us." "Of course not. How can we trust you?" Hua Leitang said sternly. "Don't try this on me." "Then there's no room for discussion. Both of us will be executed on the spot, but you know the consequences." Bigger smiled and looked at Suyin provocatively. "Isn't that right, Captain Yanlong? All right, who do you want to go with you?" Suyin agreed without hesitation. No matter what price he had to pay, he would never let an innocent family get hurt again. "As long as you promise not to hurt the hostages, everything is negotiable. Are you clear about my premise?" Bigger nodded. "All right. As long as we have Captain Yanlong's assurance, everything is negotiable. Captain Yanlong, if I told you not to go, you definitely wouldn't agree. So other than you, I'll name these 2. After that, Bigger pointed at Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu. Obviously, Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu were the 2 people who attacked him, and Hua Xiaolu. Bigger definitely didn't have good intentions. He definitely wanted to take revenge on Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu for beating him and Hua Xiaolu up. And Suyin was their top priority. He was definitely someone they wanted to control. Hua Leitang definitely couldn't agree to this. No matter how big the problem was, he couldn't let Su Yun go to a completely unknown place without any weapons. Once that happened, the situation would be out of their control. Boss, you definitely can't go. Hua Leitang pulled Su Yun to his side and told him firmly, now that the two of them are in our hands, if the other party finds out, they definitely won't do anything to the hostages. If they really want to exchange hostages like this guy said, they'll naturally look for us first. If they don't even want to exchange hostages with us, then even if you go, they won't keep their word. This is a trap. How could Su Yun not know that this was a trap? Of course, he knew very well that the other party wanted them to go there to suppress them. But Yu Jiaqian was in their hands, and they were in danger. Su Yun had no other choice. As long as he could get Yu Jiaqian out of danger, he had to put himself in Yu Jiaqian's shoes. If it weren't for him, Yu Jiaqian wouldn't have been targeted by these agents, and she wouldn't have been taken away. The root cause of everything was Su Yun himself. So, he definitely wouldn't allow anything to happen to Yu Jiaqian. He couldn't care about himself anymore. Placing his own mistakes on others and letting others bear the burden of it, Su Yun could not do such a thing. No matter what, he couldn't do such a treacherous thing. Hua Leitang's logic wasn't wrong, but Su Yun couldn't do things rationally at this time. Humans were emotional creatures. Even the ruthless Special Forces members who had been baptized by countless wars were living people with emotions. You guys have the final say. It's not up to us to decide whether to go or not. Bigger continued to provoke Su Yun. Su Yun sneered. I said I'll go, and I'll definitely go. I also know your goal. As long as you don't hurt the hostages, I'm willing to agree to your conditions. You can contact your people now. Boss, I think you should think twice about this matter. Han Zhan also felt that Su Yun's actions were a little inappropriate. They couldn't let Su Yun take this risk. After all, Su Yun was their soul. If something happened to Su Yun, it would be a terrible blow to their morale. If you insist on going, then I'll go. I'll go get the hostages back. Hua Leitang saw the determination in Su Yun's eyes and knew that no one would be able to persuade him. In any case, we can't let you go. If you go, you'll fall into their trap. Su Yun shook his head slowly. We all know that this is a trap. But this trap is obviously dug for me. If it were someone else, they wouldn't agree. Plus, I can't let my brothers step into this trap for me. No matter what tricks they have, they can come at me. I'm afraid that most of General Aid's hatred is only on me. This wasn't a problem of hatred. Indeed, Su Yun was right. General Aid's biggest headache right now was Su Yun. However, he didn't hate Su Yun because he had to get rid of him. He just felt that it was a pity that such a good seedling couldn't be used for himself. Unfortunately, if he wanted to force Matthew back to America, the only one he could use was Su Yun. General Aid's wishful thinking was very good. His real intention was not to kill quickly and eliminate all future troubles like Christian had thought. The reason why General Ade separated his people was because he considered Su Yun's situation. He hoped that his subordinates would be smart enough to understand him, and know that his goal was to keep Su Yun alive. If he let his people gather together, it would inevitably lead to the theory of must kill. This way he could keep Su Yun alive and use Su Yun to force Matthew back to America. In the end, he would use all kinds of methods to persuade both of them to work for him. This was General Aid's perfect plan. Of course, if it wasn't perfect, he could only say that it was fate's arrangement. Matthew had to be forced back. As for Su Yun's life and death, it could only be left to fate. He could survive because of his ability. If he died in the hands of his people, it could only be said that he wasn't worthy of his sympathy. Beagle and Yanni were obviously people who understood General Aid's real needs. What they wanted was to capture Su Yun alive, so that the general could achieve the most satisfactory result. Now, as long as Su Yun agreed to go with them, the result was obvious. Their plan was half successful. Originally, they captured Yu Jiaqian to lure Su Yun out. Now the plan could be said to be carried out in advance. Although it was a little rushed, at least they still had the advantage. As long as Su Yun cared about this hostage, he would definitely be the weaker party. Chapter 1430. Hua Leitang did not say anything else. He knew that no matter what he said, he would not be able to change Su-yun's mind. Once Su-yun made his own decisions, he would not change his mind easily. Huo Tang had no choice but to pin his hopes on Han Zhan. They had been in the Dragon Brigade together for so many years. Usually, whenever there was a dilemma, it was Han Zhan's opinion that could calm Su-yun down. But now, Han Zhan also knew that there was nothing he could do. Su-yun did not kill the two men in front of him, which meant that he was calm. In a calm situation, Su-yun's decisions and judgments must have been made after careful consideration. At a time like this, let alone Han Zhan, even if Master Wang Yi was here, it would probably be very difficult to change Su-yun's mind. Captain Yanlong, can we leave now? Bigger stood up and said, I don't want to stay in this place any longer. You Huaxia people always say that a place where people stumble is bad luck. Right now I feel that this place is really bad luck. I don't want to stay here for even a minute longer. Su-yun did not say anything. His tacit understanding with his eyes told the brothers what to do. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu directly tied Bigger and Yanlong's hands behind their backs and subdued them. Even if they were going to make a deal, these two bargaining chips could escape at any time. Of course, they could not be careless. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu did not have any doubts about Su-yun's decision. It did not matter if there was a dragon's den or a tiger's den in front of them, or if there was a cliff or an abyss in front of them. As long as Su-yun wanted them to jump down, they would not even bat an eyelid. Even though they also felt that it was very difficult to make a choice in this matter, they did not want innocent people to be involved. Of course, they did not want Su-yun to put himself in danger. Yinglong, as for these women, I'll leave them to you. Hand them over to the public security and judicial authorities for punishment. After Su-yun finished speaking, he took the lead and walked out of the hotel room. The hotel manager on duty had been observing the situation on this floor in the monitoring room. When he saw Su-yun walk out, he knew that the matter had been resolved. The leaders had all come out. Very soon, the manager on duty felt his scalp go numb. Two foreigners had been escorted out, followed closely by a bunch of prostitutes. This was the thing that gave him a headache. No matter what, it could be said that their hotel's supervision was not good enough. To put it bluntly, it was condoning bad social practices. If they were to stop their business for an investigation, it would be a big problem. His boss would definitely scold him. He didn't report such a big thing. Now that something went wrong, what should he do? Huo Tang arranged for these prostitutes who had destroyed social harmony and stability, and caused bad social practices to be taken to the nearby police station for punishment. He went straight to the manager on duty. Seeing this, the manager on duty knew that there was trouble. As soon as Huo Tang came in front of him, he quickly took out a soft Chenghua cigarette from his pocket and handed it to Huo Tang. His other hand was busy taking out a lighter. Although he usually showed off in front of the hotel staff, in front of the boss and these people with law enforcement power, he had long been used to lowering his head and acting like a grandson. Brother, smoke a cigarette, smoke a cigarette. What do you need me to do? Let's sit down and talk slowly. What do you want to drink? I'll ask someone to get it. The manager on duty was quite discerning. Brothers, you've been busy all night. Now you must be tired. How about? I'll arrange it. Let's go to our hotel's bathing department to have a sauna, and find a few skilled technicians to give you a massage? Huo Tang glared at the manager on duty. He hadn't even asked him to properly manage the hotel's bad social practices. This guy actually wanted to take them to the hotel's bathing center to pass the time. He guessed that no matter what he said to this guy, it would be useless. Don't say anything to me. I don't have time to take care of your hotel's trivial matters. You and my men will go to the police station to explain to the police. Huo Tang said. There are so many prostitutes in the hotel who do this kind of business. The social practices are all ruined by people like you. Let's go. Don't just stand there. The manager on duty was stunned. When he heard that they were only going to hand him over to the police station, he wasn't afraid. He was too familiar with the police stations in this area. Not to mention the police officers below. Even the head of the police station had a very deep relationship with their boss. For example, when there was a crackdown a while ago, as long as there was any sign of trouble, they would be able to get first-hand information. They would be able to stop all the improper businesses in the hotel in time. Oh, brother, you're friends with Director G of the police station, right? Ha ha ha. Then there are no outsiders. Our boss and Director G are close friends. We're all familiar with each other. Let's sit down and have a drink together next time and get to know each other. I'll arrange it. The manager on duty said, we really didn't know about what happened today. These two foreigners actually brought so many prostitutes to our hotel to fool around. Sigh, in the future, I won't let foreigners stay in our hotel. Hua Leitang wasn't a member of society, and didn't like to listen to these people who mingled in society say such polite words. I don't know who Director G is, but you have to accept criticism and education. Don't be long-winded. Let's go. The manager on duty felt that it was interesting when he heard this. Oh, he didn't even know Director G, yet he was still pretending to be a big boss in this area. He also changed the way he addressed him. Brother, Yanjing City is only so big. Everyone sees each other frequently. Do you think this is good? Don't mess around. If you mess around, you'll only be messing with your own people. More friends means more options. Isn't this simple? I don't have time to make friends with people like you. Don't talk nonsense with me. Let's go. Hua Leitang grabbed the manager on duty and directly detained him. Gong Sun Lung went forward and handcuffed him, and took him away directly. F***CK. Are you guys crazy? It's not like you're asking for prostitutes. The manager on duty shouted and scolded. Okay, you're awesome. Let's wait and see. I'm telling you, I just need to call my boss and this matter will be settled immediately. Don't use a chicken feather as a token of authority. Who do you think you are in front of me? Hua Leitang was already very unhappy because of Su Yun's decision. This guy was still full of shit. He frowned and said, make him shut up. Gong Sun Lung didn't have any good ideas. He could only give the manager on duty a chop on his Adam's apple. This chop made the manager on duty want to cry on the spot. The unbearable pain was indescribable. His throat was chopped. Not to mention talking. Even breathing was painful. The matter in the hotel was finally over. Su Yun had already brought Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu out of the hotel with Bigger and Yanni. Hua Leitang wasn't a stupid person. Their cars had GPS trackers. No matter where they went, they could be found in time. Now he needed to report this matter to the two leaders, Wang Guangxiao and Wang Yi, as soon as possible. This matter was beyond his control. Under Bigger's command, Su Yun drove all the way to the south. Bigger didn't stop talking along the way. He kept talking nonsense. His goal was very simple. He wanted to distract Su Yun so that he wouldn't be able to think calmly and make the right decision. This way, the chances of him using tricks would be reduced. The annoyed Su Yun suddenly slammed on the brakes. He turned around and took out a rag from the storage compartment in the front passenger seat. He used it to wipe the obvious dirt on the car's glass and stuffed it into Bigger's mouth. Bigger coughed a few times because of the pungent smell, but he couldn't get the rag out no matter how hard he tried. It's only because my brother is kind. If it were me, I would cut off your tongue and feed it to the dogs. Qianfeng was also annoyed. However, Su Yun didn't say anything. He didn't know if he needed to educate him. Yanni didn't say anything when he saw Bigger's miserable state. He knew that a wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. Chapter 1431. The car left the southern suburbs, but Beagle still did not ask Su Yun to stop. Hua Xiaolu looked at Yanni in confusion. He was the only one who could speak freely, but Yanni was a little confused. I don't know the exact location. I only know that there's still a long way to go after we leave the southern suburbs, he said. Qianfeng cursed. How could an agent have a poor sense of direction? How did he manage to work under Adler? How Ren had no choice but to take out the rag in Beagle's mouth. You'd better be concise and comprehensive. Shut up when you're done. Don't dawdle. Don't let that idiot get mad at you for being so long-winded. Got it? Beagle's tongue was numb from being stuffed with the rag. He did not speak for 40 minutes. It took him a long time to recover his ability to speak. Using the Russian way of speaking, he spoke in strange Chinese. We're almost there. Turn right at the intersection ahead and take the small road. You'll reach the sand reservoir in the village after you pass it. Those bastards really knew how to find a place to hide. They would either choose a villa in a wealthy suburb or a star-rated hotel in a remote area. This was even more impressive. They would directly turn into a warehouse next to the sand reservoir in the village in the suburbs. The reservoir used to be quite famous. The people in the village who contracted the reservoir to extract river sand made a fortune. But as the years went by, there was no longer any usable river sand in the reservoir, and the sand reservoir was closed. The warehouse was also no longer used. Instead, there were some useless sand digging machines and a scrapped mud truck. The reservoir became a paradise for some fishing enthusiasts. But the excessive extraction of river sand had almost destroyed the ecological balance of the reservoir, and the number of fish in the reservoir was pitifully low. A year later, the fishing paradise was abandoned. No one liked to waste time in a reservoir where they could not catch more than 2 fish in a day. Over time, the once famous sand reservoir gradually faded from people's sight. Now, even the nearby villagers didn't like to come here. Therefore, the sand reservoir unknowingly became a small world that was abandoned by people. Occasionally, only young men and women who had nothing better to do would drive here with a barbecue oven and hold a barbecue party. Now that the weather had cooled down, even the young men and women who came here for the barbecue party had disappeared, making the sand reservoir even more lifeless. You can even find a place like this. You're really not simple. Tianfeng frowned. Boss, these bastards have a lot of ideas. You should know that the south of the reservoir is Yanjing. The south belongs to an autonomous region of the Manchu. It has always been a place with lax supervision. You know our country's policy towards ethnic minorities. Su Yun nodded. Of course, he knew that if it weren't for the country's preferential policies for ethnic minorities, how could there be people who wanted to stir up trouble? Speaking from the bottom of his heart, let's talk about those rioting people in the border and Tibet region. They should touch their own conscience and ask themselves how much our motherland, our party, has treated them well. Everything is for their benefit. Yet we have raised a few ungrateful wolves. There were riots, attacks, and all sorts of threats to the Han Chinese at the train station. Actually, a large part of the reason was that the country was too good to them. Su Yun didn't believe that if those rioting people in the border and Tibet region didn't have food to eat, water to use, railways to come out, planes to come out, and information and the internet to come out. They were isolated in that remote and barren place every day. And they didn't even have the time to eat their next meal. How could they have the time to cause trouble? They definitely didn't have the leisure to do so. Those rioting people who wanted to cause trouble were all people who had nothing better to do. And those who wanted independence, were their brains filled with shit? Without our motherland and our party, would you be able to live a good life today? Independence, my ass. Independence, my ass. Why don't you try being independent for 3 years? And you'll starve to the point that you have to run back and call for your father. You don't have any idea. The motherland and the party were magnanimous and tolerant. Of course, they could forgive these mistakes. Autonomous regions had the right to govern themselves, and this autonomous region outside of Yanjing had this right. Therefore, in some ways, the sand reservoir had a taste of no one paying attention to it. Now that Yu Jiaqian was in such a border that didn't care about anything, she didn't have any confidence at all. Since Yu Jiaqian was brought to this place, she learned from the guy who controlled her that their target wasn't her, but Su Yun, who accompanied her to the hospital today. And she was used as a bargaining chip to lure Su Yun to this place. You think too much. Su Yun and I only met once. We can be said to be friends, but I'm afraid we really don't have any friendship. Yu Jiaqian said. So you want to use me to lure Su Yun into this trap? It's a completely wrong decision. Because it's impossible for him to risk his life for someone like me who he only met once. The guy who controlled Yu Jiaqian was still considered elegant. He used his finger to push up the glasses on the bridge of his nose and said, whether he will use himself to exchange with you or not, it's not up to you to decide. Maybe you only met him once, so you don't know him well. Of course, I haven't met him. But we studied him, so we understand him and know what his weakness is. Since I brought you to this place, it means that it will be useful to use you to deal with him. Who the hell are you? Why do you want to deal with him? Yu Jiaqian said. Don't you know that this is a crime? Also, you don't have the right to tell me how to think. Your decision is just a daydream. It's up to you to believe it or not. Miss Yu, don't be angry. The gentle guy said. If I analyze it for you, you will understand why he must come to save you. Yu Jiaqian frowned. When she said that Su Yin wouldn't come to save her, she wasn't joking. She really thought so. Now that this person wanted to give her a reason, she was really interested to hear it. She wanted to know why Su Yin would risk his life to help her. About your father's death, Miss Yu. I'm very sorry. The gentle guy said. Among our people, there is a very self-righteous guy who was used by Huaxia's Song Xiangxiang, so he attacked your father. In this matter, Yin Long. Oh no, you call him Su Yin. In this matter, Su Yin will blame himself. Their dereliction of duty hurt innocent people, so he will feel guilty to you deep down in his heart. Yu Jiaqian looked at the other party vigilantly. She didn't know what the other party meant, but she listened very seriously. She also wanted to know the truth and who Su Yin was. To some extent, Su Yin feels very sorry for the ordinary people who were implicated because of this. Even if this matter has nothing to do with him, he will still put the responsibility on himself. According to our understanding of him, he is such a person. The gentleman pushed his glasses again. So if he knows that the Yu family is involved in his dispute again, he will stop you at all costs. After the gentleman finished speaking, he smiled slightly. This is why I don't want to hurt you. If I hurt you, I will completely anger Su Yin. At that time, we will be in trouble. We only need to use you to replace him in your position and subdue him. Our task will be completed. Then who are you people? Why do you want to go against him? Yu Jiaqian said. This is a state secret that I can't tell you. After the gentleman finished speaking, he took a sip of water and handed Yu Jiaqian a bottle of mineral water. Miss Yu, please wait here. Tomorrow my two companions will find a way to get in touch with Su Yin. Before the gentleman's confident voice fell, the sound of a car engine getting closer and closer made him alert. It was so late. Who would come to this place? Did something go wrong? Chapter 1432. The sound of the car engine suddenly disappeared, and the strange silence made the gentleman even more alert. His ears pricked up like a cat's as he carefully listened for any faint sounds outside the warehouse. At this moment, Yu Jiaqian was much more nervous than the gentleman. This kind of border with the autonomous region was the place with the weakest supervision, so the car that came here was definitely not a police patrol. This was not like what was shown in American movies. Even in a remote town, as long as you dared to commit a crime, even if you hid in a coffin, the police would be able to find you with a gun in one hand and a document in the other. They would also tell you that you had the right to remain silent, but everything you said would be taken as a confession in court. This was obviously better than the Huaxia police. After all, there was a cultural difference between different regions. Of course, in any country, there were people who abused their power and neglected their duties, and there were also people who enforced the law impartially and selflessly. However, Huaxia's people were a little less strict and selfless, and there were more people who lived leisurely and leisurely. Yu Jiaqian had no intention of slandering the Huaxia police. Most people would not be able to come into contact with the Serious Crimes Investigation Unit or the Criminal Police Unit that specialized in solving major cases, but everyone knew one or two police officers in ordinary police stations. She had heard of the security guards who lost an electric scooter, two groups of people fighting, or had their wallets stolen while shopping on the bus. The police station received many cases every day, but how many cases were solved? Most of the workers would just say, "Go back and wait for the news." The petty thieves who were caught by the police station were all possessed by the god of misfortune. They would be caught red-handed if they were caught stealing at a fixed time. Otherwise, they would be so daring as to extend their hands to certain people that they could not afford to offend. Since ancient times, Huaxia had never lacked the legends of three hands. Thieves also had their principles, and there were many chivalrous thieves who robbed the rich to help the poor. However, there were no constables other than the four famous constables and the 6 fan school. Yudikin, it's us. The gentleman heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the voice from outside. So it was one of them. Yanni's voice was easy to recognize, and the gentleman recognized him immediately. Underneath Yudikin's gentle appearance was a cruel and merciless personality. This was definitely related to his life experience. As a person who was tricked into working on a pirate ship at the age of 5, his childhood memories were filled with all kinds of deceit, all kinds of evil, all kinds of sinister schemes, and all kinds of torture and killing. The reason why Yudikin always had a gentle smile on his face was a habit that he had developed over the years. When he was young, even if he was kicked, beaten, and insulted by others, he would still have to put on a smile that didn't show any disgust. Otherwise, he would have to face death. Death was terrible. What Yudikin feared the most was death. The pirate ship was not the world of devil fruit users in the eyes of 2D enthusiasts. The captain was definitely not the affectionate and hot-blooded Monchi D. Luffy. The companion was not the strong-willed Roronoa Zoro. The navigator was not the lovely and charming Nami. The cook was also not Sanji. The ship's doctor Chopper? That was naturally even more impossible. If the people on his pirate ship were compared to the 2D characters that everyone was familiar with, their captain was a man who advocated strength and was conceited. He was a man who was patient, tenacious, farsighted, and reckless in his actions. At the same time, he was also a rough, cruel, treacherous, and greedy guy. Their vice-captain should be someone like Shiryu of the Rain. He was bloodthirsty and liked to kill indiscriminately. In everyone's eyes, he was a super executioner. And their navigator was the infamous Lafitte who was expelled by the country. They were a group of absolutely violent and terrifying guys. People who grew up in this kind of environment were somewhat psychopathic, and Yudikin was no exception. He was also an absolute psychopath, but his psychopathic nature had long been buried deep in his heart. Most people would never think of him as a psychopath when they saw him. Just like Yu Jiaqian, even if this guy forced her to come to this place, she still thought that he was a gentle and elegant person, not a violent and cruel person. But all the agents under General Ade knew that Yudikin's cruelty was not something they could compare to. He was more violent than anyone else, and the blood in his body was crueler than anyone else's. Yudikin's means of killing were richer than anyone else's, and his means of torture were even more varied. Those who had seen him in an interrogation were absolutely unforgettable. The scene was quite shocking. Seeing Yudikin's relaxed look and the voice of the people outside, Yu Jiaqian was still quite disappointed. Although she did not have any extravagant hopes, she still had the desire to survive when she heard the voice of the people outside. Yu Jiaqian, are you there? Another voice called out to her from outside the factory. Such a familiar voice rekindled all the hope in Yu Jiaqian's heart. That's right, this voice was Su Yun's. Yu Jiaqian's heart was already boiling. This feeling really surprised and moved her. She did not know how to describe it. At first she really hoped that it would be like this. But then Yu Jiaqian fell into deep self-blame and worry. It was because of her that Su Yun was brought to this place, and the other party was obviously preparing to deal with Su Yun. Su Yun would definitely be in trouble here. Was this all her fault? Would Su Yun be in danger? These were all the emotions that followed Yu Jiaqian. She suddenly had a strong desire to shout and tell Su Yun to go back. But then, Yu Jiaqian was directly controlled by the gentle-looking Yudikin. Obviously, Yudikin knew very well that a change in the plan meant that there was a problem. They had agreed to contact Su Yun the next day, but they had brought him here in the middle of the night. There was definitely a problem. Yudikin did not answer any questions. He also covered Yu Jiaqian's mouth to prevent her from making any sound or breathing. Under the premise that he could not confirm the situation outside, he would not easily reveal his location. Yudikin, something happened to us today. We were surrounded by Captain Yen Long's team at the hotel. Bigger knew that Yudikin was cautious, so he had to explain the situation clearly. Otherwise, he would not show up. Right now, Yen Long and I are being controlled by Yen Long. There are 3 of them. However, they won't do anything to us here. They are not armed, and Yen Long cares a lot about the hostage. Bring the hostage out to see us now. Yudikin angrily punched the wall. 2 idiots. They had actually screwed up the plan. He had warned them repeatedly that the more critical the moment, the more vigilant they had to be. How could these two guys screw up at such a crucial time? Yanlong is willing to exchange himself for the hostage, Yani added. This condition had obviously dispelled Yudikin's anger. As long as Su Yuning obediently surrendered, everything was negotiable. Yu Jiaqian's eyes were a little red. It seemed that she really did not understand Su Yun. Only now did she believe that Yudikin really understood Su Yun. They could clearly conclude that Su Yun would do anything to save her, which was why he had attacked her. Hearing this condition, Yudikin did not hide anymore. He walked out of the warehouse with Yu Jiaqian. I didn't expect the two of you to be so efficient. Of course, there was some disdain in his words. Seeing the bruises on their faces, he knew that the two of them had suffered a lot. Yu Jiaqian was no longer under his control and could speak. For some reason she suddenly shouted, "Who asked you to save me? Go back. We don't know each other. I don't need you to save me. Go away. Go." Yudikin pulled Yu Jiaqian behind him. If not for the fact that his two accomplices were still in Su Yun's hands, he would have slapped them. Now that his men were still in Su Yun's hands, it was better not to anger Su Yun. After all, they were not armed, so they could only hope that Su Yun would cooperate. Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu were already in a bad mood. They did not want their boss to exchange his life for hers, but they had no choice. It was not up to them to decide. Chapter 1433. Let them go. Su Yun ignored Yu Jiaqian's shouts and said firmly to Yudikin, "Let her go, and I'll return your men unscathed." Bigger pointed at his swollen face and questioned Su Yun. "You call this unscathed? Don't you know how heavy-handed your own people are? Captain Yanlong, you really know how to joke. If I were you, I'd definitely become an excellent talk show host." "Then what do you want?" Su Yun said. "You called my two people here, isn't it because you want to take revenge? But I'm telling you now, that's impossible." Of course, Su Yun would not let anyone humiliate his two brothers who had gone through thick and thin with him. When he agreed to let Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu accompany him, it was only to prevent them from playing any tricks on the way, and to change their strategy at the last minute. But now that they were here, Su Yun could not let his brothers be humiliated by others. Everything Bigger had planned before would be for naught. Even if Qianfeng was here, Su Yun would never let them succeed. "I'm afraid that's not up to you, right? What I want to do depends on whether I want to do it." Bigger took advantage of the fact that the hostages were still in his hands, and was a little unscrupulous. His desire for revenge was too strong. If he did not teach this Qianfeng a lesson today, he would not be able to take it lying down at all. Of course, he would also make Yani return all the punches and kicks that Yani had given him. Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu did not care. They could bear with it if they wanted to. They would definitely not blame Su Yun for this. Who asked him to be so despicable to seize such a good opportunity? If he did not let them take action to relieve his itch, he would be letting them down. Su Yun had his own way of dealing with this. "If you two want to do something to my brothers, fine, but you'll have to return what you want to return. Then, you two will exchange the hostages." This condition did not seem to benefit the other party at all. The agents under General Ade were not fools. This deal was meaningless, and at the same time, it would expose their identities. It would not be easy for them to stay in Huaxia. This condition was absolutely impossible, and Yudikin's target was Su Yun. He wanted to capture Su Yun no matter the cost. Su Yun had already seen through this problem, and he also saw another problem. Among the agents, other than Jefferson, who had found a way to get a large amount of weapons, none of them take the risk. They did not have any lethal weapons. From Yudikin's expression, Su Yun could see that he was dissatisfied with this proposal. Exchanging his two companions for a hostage that could make Yanlong surrender was not a good deal. No, he really could not agree to this. Yudikin quickly made a clear and rational decision. Although his companions were important, they were definitely not as important as the hostage in his hands. As long as he had the hostage, Yanlong would not dare to act rashly. If he exchanged the hostage for his two companions, then their fates would depend on their luck. Once the hostage was out of danger, Yanlong would definitely target them. There was no way he would let them go. At that time, he would probably face even more difficulties, and his fate would be in the hands of the other party. However, the reason Yutakin could survive for so many years on the pirate ship, and survive in the hands of so many murderous demons, showed that he was not a guy who liked to have his fate in the hands of others. One's fate must be in one's own hands. Only by having one's own fate could one obtain more things that were beneficial to oneself, and control the situation that was beneficial to oneself. Impossible. Yutakin said these 3 words calmly. These 3 words were basically equivalent to announcing the failure of Beagle's plan. He no longer had the chance to retaliate against Qianfeng. Yutakin pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose. Captain Yanlong, you and I are both smart people. I believe you know that I will not agree to this condition, which is why you said it first. Now that things have come to this, I don't want to waste any more time. You must have a better suggestion. If not, then it's up to me to state the conditions, right? Su Yin nodded. It did not matter who said it, because he believed that this guy in front of him was thinking the same thing as him. Only Su Yin himself could exchange for the hostage. No one else was a bargaining chip in Yutakin's heart. Only you can exchange the hostages in my hands. No one else can, Yutakin said. Right now 2 of my people are in your hands. Their legs are tied up and they have completely lost their ability to fight, so they are no threat to you. I don't want them for now. Yanlong, I want your people to tie you up like this, then slowly come over to my side. I will naturally release them. What are you thinking? Do you think we will believe your nonsense? Hua Xiaolu could not agree. If Su Yin went over, what would they do if he did not release the hostages? None of them could guarantee that this guy was not a lazy dog. From their various actions, they really were the kind of shameless people who liked to go back on their words. It was impossible for them to believe such shameless words. Qianfeng also said to Su Yin, Boss, you can't agree to this condition. They don't have good intentions at all. Captain Yanlong, think about it carefully. If I don't release the hostages, I still have 2 of my friends in your hands. They have no ability to resist, and your people can kill them if they want to. How can I not keep my word? Yutakin said further. This made sense, but even Bigger and Yanni could not believe what Yutakin was saying. Was it true or not? It was like a gamble. If Yutakin suddenly cheated, the one who would die would not be him, but Bigger and Yanni. Yutakin, you're not joking, are you? Bigger obviously did not trust Yutakin. You can't joke about our lives. You have to know that if it weren't for the 2 of us, Yanlong would not have been brought here. You can take all the credit for yourself, but you have to guarantee the safety of Yanni and my lives. Yutakin glanced at Bigger and said calmly, Of course I won't give up on my companions. But in the ears of Bigger and Yanni, these words were more unbelievable than anything else. They all knew what kind of person Yutakin was. The reason he could survive on that ferocious pirate ship was because he killed all his companions on the ship. Their ruthless captain and cruel chief officer were all killed by Yutakin himself. Who would believe that such a person would care about the lives of his companions? Even a ghost wouldn't believe Yutakin's words. Bigger gritted his teeth. Did this bastard really want to burn the bridge after crossing the river, and take all the credit for himself? No, he could not let his life be in the hands of others. I have another suggestion, Bigger suddenly said. We don't have to go back, but during the exchange, since Yanlong was tied up and subdued, you can let him go when he walks into the trap. This will make them feel more at ease. Bigger, you shouldn't distrust me so much. We're companions, Yutakin said with slight displeasure. Bigger was really too cunning. He was afraid that Yutakin would use this opportunity to push them into the fire pit, and take all the credit for himself. He was really a man of petty character. Bigger smiled without any embarrassment. I just hope that our exchange will be fairer. That way they can rest assured. Otherwise, I'm afraid they won't agree to your request. Yutakin snorted disdainfully. How could he not agree? He had already seen Su Yun's expression that he agreed to his terms, because Su Yun also thought the same. He knew better than anyone else that only he could exchange for the hostages. He had known this before he came. Su Yun had asked Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu to accompany him. Another reason was that he needed brothers to take Yu Jiaqian away. One would protect the hostages, and the other would cover the retreat. He needed at least 2 brothers. Chapter 1434. Yudikin really did have the thought of abandoning his comrade. Bigger, that cowardly bastard, had messed things up at a critical moment. Did he not think about one thing? If he let the hostage go before he could confirm that Su Yun was being controlled, it would be a very risky thing to do. It was not easy to capture a hostage that the other party was so wary of. Wouldn't it be too easy to let the hostage go just like that? Yudikin would never do that. Captain Yanlong is a magnanimous person. When I make a deal with a magnanimous person, I always keep my word. Captain Yanlong, although we haven't had much contact, there should still be some basic trust between us, right? No. Su Yun's answer was very straightforward. It was impossible for him to have any sense of trust with General Aid's agents. Their despicable and shameless image had already left a deep impression in Su Yun's heart. Trusting them was the same as trusting Pinocchio. He would only watch their noses grow longer and longer. However, Su Yun was not the princess of the forest. He had no interest in living a happy life with Pinocchio. Captain Yanlong, your words really make me sad and disappointed. Yudikin smiled. I thought that we would at least have some feelings of appreciation for each other. Now it seems that I was thinking too much. Su Yun snorted. You don't have to be so hypocritical. You're the one who has the initiative now. You can do whatever you want. There's no need to pretend to be friends with me. You know that I won't listen to your nonsense. If you don't trust your people, then give me a reason to believe that you will definitely let them go. Yudikin's face darkened. Because she doesn't mean anything to me. Why would I hurt her? Her value is to exchange you for me. The person I want is you, not her. Also, I'm not interested in women. I'm quite interested in Captain Yanlong. Damn. This grandson was actually a gay who liked to play and pick up soap. Su Yun felt a chill run down his spine when he heard that. No wonder he did not participate in Beagle and Yanni's debauchery at the hotel. It turned out that it was not because he had a functional disability, but because he was mentally ill. Actually, Su Yun was not a person who discriminated against gays and lesbians. It was just that his traditional views made him feel a little disgusted. Is he really gay? Qianfeng stared at Bigger. Is this B***starred bluffing? If that guy was gay and Su Yun was swapped over and controlled, wouldn't it be possible for him to lose his anus? Thinking of this, Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu looked at each other. Both of them felt Su Yun's chrysanthemum tighten. It was too disgusting. Adler's men were not only despicable, they were all perverted weirdos. How could they be so unlucky to have such a team as their opponent? But come to think of it, perhaps they were the only ones who could deal with this supergroup of weirdos led by General Adler. If they were to head to other countries, perhaps there wouldn't be many who could withstand their various despicable means. Captain Yanlong, if you agree to trust me, our deal will continue. If you don't, then I'll have to cancel the deal. Yudikin said, as long as the hostage is in my hands, you can't do anything to me. That's for sure no matter the time, right? Haha. This was true. No matter the time, as long as Yu Jiaqian was still in Yudikin's hands, Su Yun could not act rashly. He could only be led by the nose. It was said that one had to lead the cow by its nose, not its legs. Now it seemed that Su Yun was being led by the nose. General Aid's subordinates had studied him thoroughly, which was why they were always able to strike first. I agree. Su Yun had no other choice. He could only agree. He had to save Yu Jiaqian from this position first, and then think of other ways to deal with the rest. He would take it one step at a time. Straightforward. Yudikin laughed. I like dealing with straightforward people like Captain Yanlong. I promise that as long as Captain Yanlong does not play any tricks, I will definitely release the hostage. As long as you are here, the hostage is meaningless to me. In comparison, I hope that my 2 companions can return safely. Only then can I be at ease. Captain Yanlong is such a powerful person. If I don't have 2 companions to help me, I won't be able to sleep at night. With Yudikin's words, Bigger calmed down. It was true. If Yudikin did not exchange him and Yanni for the hostage, He could not deal with Su Yin alone. Haha, it seemed that companions were companions after all. When facing an external enemy, even untrustworthy companions should be trusted. With common interests, even enemies could become friends, let alone companions. Just as the two sides reached an agreement, Su Yin put his hands behind his back to let Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu tie him up, and Bigger watched intently to see if they could tie Su Yin up. Yanni did something unbelievable. He suddenly ran recklessly towards Yudikin. It seemed that this was premeditated. He had been very quiet all this time, quietly waiting for an opportunity to get him out of danger. Compared to the uncertain situation of the deal later, Yanni knew that he had to escape to win the last chance of survival. Bigger, who had always thought that he was smarter than anyone else, did not think of this step. If he also ran out, Su Yin and the others would be completely screwed. They had hostages, and the other side had no bargaining chips. What was the point of the deal? Yanlong would definitely surrender immediately. Yudikin glanced at Yanni, who had run back and said nothing. Yanni turned his back and motioned for Yudikin to untie him. Hurry up and untie me." As he spoke, he looked at Bigger with some reluctance, as if to say, "If you had been smart enough to escape with me, we would have won today. How clean would that have been?" But what awaited him was not the release, but Yudikin's cold-blooded and merciless killing. While Arnie was defenseless, Yudikin suddenly made his move and snapped Arnie's neck. This young man with great potential in General Aid's eyes died at the hands of his own people. Bigger also learned something new today. This incident made him understand that sometimes, not only could one not expose one's back to the enemy, but also to one's own people. This was especially true for a cold-blooded executioner like Yudikin, who did not hesitate to kill his own people. Yudikin naturally had his reasons for doing this. He already had a chance to control Su Yun. And now that Yanni wanted to mess things up, what if Su Yun became angry and changed his mind? He wanted Su Yun, not the hostages, and not their two companions. Only by bringing Su Yun back to the general could the mission be considered complete. Yudikin could not accept Yanni's actions at all, so he did not hesitate at all when he killed him. He killed without hesitation, without hesitation. "Captain Yanlong, I'm sincere enough," Yudikin said. "Since we've already agreed on a deal, no one can change it, and no one can go back on their word. Even if he's one of my people, if he wants to cause trouble, I won't give him the chance. I want to make a fair deal with Captain Yanlong. This guy was really ruthless. He even had such a dignified reason for killing." Su Yin took a deep breath. Perhaps this person was even more difficult to deal with than Christian and Jefferson. General Aid's secret agents were really ruthless. Chapter 1435. His opponent was someone who didn't even show any mercy to his own people. Su Yin realized that he might really be facing a big problem. Yu Jiaqian could not breathe as she watched a living person's neck being broken right in front of her eyes. A few minutes ago, she had thought that this was a gentleman who would not do anything to hurt her, but now she understood what it meant to know a person for a long time without knowing his true nature. Seeing Yanni fall to the ground and not move at all, Bigger took a deep breath. He felt his temples throbbing, and the deep pain made him very uncomfortable. He did not understand why Judikin would do this to Yanni. It made him feel a strong sense of fear. If he had been the one to run away, he would have ended up like Yanni. Why? Why would he do this to his own people? They were already fighting away from home in Huaxia. How could Judikin still have such a strong desire to kill? This was not what he wanted to see. Once his own people were in chaos, how could he hope to fight against Su Yin? Bigger, Yanni's actions just now will destroy the trust between us and Captain Yanlong. I will not allow this to happen. Judikin could see Bigger's hesitation and doubt. Everything I do is for the sake of the goal. You should know how the general feels about Captain Yanlong. As long as Captain Yanlong is willing to cooperate with us, the general will not hesitate to sacrifice any of us. Yanni's actions just now went against the general's intentions. Yes, I understand the general's intentions. The general thinks highly of Captain Yanlong, but he did not ask you to do this to your own people. Bigger was hesitant about whether he should cooperate with Judikin. He did not want to be stabbed in the back by his own people. Judikin frowned. Do you know who is in the most danger if the trust between me and Captain Yanlong is broken? It's you. I stopped things from going bad. I hope you can understand my good intentions. As for Yanni, I am also very sad. After all, he is my friend. But for the sake of the big picture, even if they are my friends and brothers, I will not allow any accidents to happen. Yu Jiaqian's eyes widened as she stared at Judikin, who had no regard for human life at all. Her lips trembled as she said, Then you don't have to kill him, he's a human, a living being. You killed him just like that? Have you ever thought that he might still have a family, a lover, and someone who sees him as everything in his life? If you kill him, then what about those people? How can you do this? You are a demon, a devil. Judikin looked at Yu Jiaqian in disbelief. This girl still had the guts to criticize him. Miss Yu, don't worry. He's like us. He doesn't have a family, and it's impossible for him to have a lover. His life belonged to the country and the general. It was only right for him to sacrifice himself for the country and the general. It's that simple. Fallacy. Ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Yu Jiaqian couldn't control her emotions. Her father had also died under this kind of murder, so she was quite conflicted about what was happening in front of her. This kind of behavior that treated human life like grass was something she couldn't accept. But how could Yu Jiaqian's soft words move Judikin? Human life was like grass. This kind of thinking had been deeply imprinted in Judikin's mind since he was less than 10 years old. So he didn't think that what he did was wrong. He felt that everything should be like this. As long as it was for victory, even if it was a sacrifice, it should be done. This kind of person couldn't be reasoned with. Suyin didn't want Yu Jiaqian to reason with him like a normal person. She might even anger him. I'm ready. I'll go to you now. With that, Suyin turned around to show him his hands that were tied behind his back. This kind of rope was made of special material to deal with people like them. The special material was as tough as steel. After all, ordinary handcuffs and chains couldn't hold masters like them. Judikin looked at the material of the rope and was satisfied. However, he couldn't see the buckle clearly. He could only use his eyes to tell Beeger. Beeger had been observing the way the rope was tied. If there was a mechanism that could be easily opened, it would definitely not work. To deal with people like Suyin, it should be a dead knot that couldn't be opened. Beeger nodded. He didn't escape just now because he was carefully observing the way the buckle was tied. Obviously, Suyin and the others had no intention of playing any tricks. It wasn't a buckle, just like the one he was tied with. It required an extremely sharp dagger to slowly cut the rope made of special material. It was impossible to break it with brute force. Seeing Beeger's response, Judikin was very satisfied. Captain Yanlong is indeed a man of his word. He does what he says. I sincerely admire him for this. I really admire him. Stop with the flattery, Suyin said coldly. I keep my word. You better keep your word too. Get ready to let her go. With that, Suyin stepped forward, ready to make the exchange with Yu Jiaqian. He was far more important than a mere hostage like Yu Jiaqian. Hua Xiaolu grabbed Beagle to prevent him from running away like Yanni. If this bargaining chip ran away, there would be no need for Judikin to keep his promise. Keeping his promise would be a laughable thing. Qianfeng was a little worried. Boss, have you really thought this through? If he doesn't keep his word, If he doesn't keep his word, you guys kill him immediately. Suyin glared at Beeger. He couldn't tell what kind of person Judikin was. The chances of him keeping his word were at most 50%. Suyin realized that ever since he started fighting with General Aid's men, he had fallen in love with gambling. And he was confident that he was right every time. Suyun's words were not only heard by Judikin, but also by Beeger. Beeger had never trusted Judikin. When he heard Suyun's words, he immediately had goosebumps. Even if he doesn't keep his word, it's him who doesn't keep his word. What does it have to do with me? I kept my word. I didn't run away just now. You can't do this to me. You can't put the blame on me. Shut up. Hua Xiaolu pressed Beeger to the ground. You better pray that your partner doesn't play any tricks. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die a worse death than you can imagine. Beeger really didn't like this feeling. His fate was in the hands of an untrustworthy partner. But what could he do? After all, they had started working together after coming to Huaxia. Now that he thought about it, it was all Yudikin's doing. The ones taking the risk were always him and Yanni. This bastard used them as pawns from the start. Yudikin, you have to keep your word. Beeger struggled to shout his last words. Yudikin laughed coldly. Whether he kept his word or not, it was up to him. If you had the same reaction speed as Yanni and escaped together, you wouldn't have ended up like this. I wouldn't have killed Yanni either. You made the mistake, so you have to bear the consequences. Seeing Suyin walk closer and closer, Yudikin's heart surged. His plan was about to succeed. As long as he took down Suyin, left Huaxia as soon as possible, and contacted the general at the military base in Dongying, then everything would be over. Chapter 1436. Yu Jiaqian's mind was blank. She did not know what kind of disaster Su Yin would bring if he was controlled by the other party. However, she was certain that Su Yin and the other party were not simple people. Their identities must be very special. If Su Yin was controlled by the other party, the consequences would be irreparable. Therefore, she had to stop this matter. Su Yin. No. I don't need you to save me. I already know that the people who killed my father are with these people. Yu Jiaqian said. If their goal is you, and you are now captured without a fight, then they will be the ones to win. I can't just watch them win. Even if I, Yu Jiaqian, can only live until today, I want to see these bad guys be subdued by you. This is the result I want to see. Su Yun's expression was still cold. He ignored Yu Jiaqian's request. You just need to do as I say. Go to my two brothers immediately, and let them take you away quickly. Our organization will definitely arrange for people to protect you. Before this matter is over, they will keep you safe. Don't worry and leave. I'm fine. No, if they want to take you there, I'll go with you. Yu Jiaqian said innocently. She did not realize how dangerous this matter was. Hearing this, Yudikin laughed wildly. Captain Yanlong, it's not that I don't keep my word. I let her go, but she refused to go and insisted on staying with you. How infatuated. This is your fortune, Captain Yanlong. I'm really envious. No woman in my life has ever treated me like this. However, I heard that there are more than 1 or 2 women who would give up their lives for you, Captain Yanlong. Without waiting for Su Yin to speak, Beagle scolded from behind. Yudikin, let that woman go and let her take my place. I'll give you a piece of advice. You can't deal with Yanlong alone. You need someone who can help you. Otherwise, even if you control Yanlong, it won't be easy for you to escape from Huaxia unscathed. Of course I know that. I don't want my companions to make any more sacrifices. But as you can see, it's not that I don't want to let them go. It's this woman who doesn't want to leave. Yudikin laughed. Is it because of my charm? If that's the case, then I really don't know what to do. If she insists on staying, what do you think I should do? Yudikin, have you been plotting against us since the beginning? I can give you all the credit. I beg you, you must send this woman to me. Bigger was terrified. Hua Shalu could kill him at any time. Su Yin had already given the order to kill him. They were all professional soldiers. Obeying orders was a basic quality. Therefore, his life was completely in Yu Jiaqian's hands. If Yu Jiaqian didn't come over, the other party would definitely kill him. There was no doubt about that. If he wanted to live, that woman was the key. Bigger was forced into a desperate situation. Yudikin, you can't leave me to die. Yudikin knew that he had done enough. If this continued, it would be too much. He didn't intend to let Bigger die. Just as Bigger said, he did need someone's help to leave Huaxia. Otherwise, even if he controlled Su Yun, he would still die if he couldn't leave Huaxia. General Ade wanted him alive. He was very sure of that, so he definitely couldn't kill Su Yun. Yudikin suddenly attacked. A sharp dagger appeared in his hand, and he pressed it against Su Yun's throat. Yu Jiaqian was shocked. This person only needed to move his wrist, and Su Yun would die. Now Su Yun had no chance of resisting at all. His hands were tied behind his back. What the F***ck do you mean? Hua Shalu was also anxious. The dagger had already pierced Bigger's skin. Scarlet blood seeped out. It was a ghastly sight. Bigger held his breath. He could only resign himself to his fate and prepare to die at any time. Now the other party only needed to move a finger, and he would die without a doubt. It was that simple. Thinking about those who used to have their fates in their hands, Bigger suddenly felt that he was really pitiful. "Miss you, I order you to go back immediately and take my people back," Udikin finally said. Udikin finally spoke. "If you don't leave, then don't blame me for being rude to the Flame Dragon Captain. If you want him to be safe, then go back and make sure my people return safely." Yu Jiaqian was completely flustered. She kept shaking her head and retreating step by step. She kept murmuring, "No, no, don't hurt him." Udikin was obviously just trying to scare her. Su Yun and Bigger could see that, but Yu Jiaqian could not. Yu Jiaqian retreated bit by bit. She could not just watch Su Yun get hurt. Even if the person asked her to jump into the reservoir, Yu Jiaqian, who could not swim, would jump in without hesitation. Su Yun silently watched Yu Jiaqian retreat. As long as Yu Jiaqian left, he was relieved. With Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu's abilities, they could safely take her away. The heavy stone in his heart had finally been lifted. When Yu Jiaqian was halfway back, Udikin raised his voice and shouted, "Now it's your turn to let her go. My friends are still under your control. Shouldn't you let me breathe a sigh of relief?" Hua Xiaolu looked at Su Yun's calm gaze from afar. He gritted his teeth and let go of Bigger. Bigger, who was finally free, quickly ran in Udikin's direction. Even though his feet were restrained, his speed was definitely comparable to Yanni's speed just now. The power to escape was immense. It could allow a person to quickly break through their limits in a short period of time. As soon as Bigger ran, Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu quickly went forward to welcome Yu Jiaqian, afraid that the other party would play any tricks. "Take her away from here immediately. This is an order," Su Yun finally said to his two brothers. In order to shut Su Yun up, Udikin raised his knee and hit Su Yun's lower abdomen. After Su Yun endured the pain, Udikin wrapped a strong bandage that he had already prepared in his hand around Su Yun's mouth. Su Yun could no longer say another word. Fortunately, Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu understood Su Yun's intentions. Without hesitation, they quickly took Yu Jiaqian and left. Yu Jiaqian was exchanged with Su Yun's own life. If he could not ensure her safety, then Su Yun's efforts would have been in vain. Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu quickened their pace and left the sand reservoir as quickly as they could. At this time, the slow roar of a car gave them hope. Reinforcements had finally arrived. If not for the fact that this place was too remote, reinforcements would have already arrived. Several cars and more than 20 Special Forces members quickly entered combat mode under clear instructions. Based on the first information given by Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu, they directly surrounded the sand reservoir. The frightened Yu Jiaqian was immediately sent back for a checkup. Sometimes, mental trauma was far more difficult to recover from than physical trauma. Therefore, they had to personally check Yu Jiaqian's mental state. If she needed treatment, the Dragon Brigade would provide the best medical conditions. After all, this innocent girl was involved in their battle. Everyone in the Dragon Brigade had the responsibility to ensure Yu Jiaqian's safety. Chapter 1437. Although the reinforcements arrived in time, when they surrounded the warehouse and were about to rescue Su Yun, they found that he had already disappeared. The other party's speed of retreat was really fast. Su Yun was subdued and he was no match for the two people, so he could only let them take him away. Therefore, even if the reinforcements arrived at the scene, it would be of no help. Qianfeng slammed his fist on the wall in frustration. Boss was in such a predicament because he, as a brother, was useless. If he could delay the other party for a few more minutes, things wouldn't have turned out like this. Hua Xiaolu patted him on the shoulder, indicating that he shouldn't think too much. He believed that escaping with Yu Jiaqian as quickly as possible was what Boss wanted to see. After figuring out what happened, everyone comforted Qianfeng to not think too badly of the situation. Since the other party didn't do anything to Su Yun on the spot, it seemed that they didn't want Su Yun to die. As long as Su Yun was still alive, they had a chance. After all, this was Huaxia, their territory. As long as they were still in Huaxia, they definitely wouldn't let them leave. The entire Dragon Brigade was mobilized. Now nothing was important. As for whether there were other agents active in Huaxia, it didn't matter. Finding Su Yun was the most important task. The entire police force in Yanjing was mobilized. Some people were still asleep when they were yelled at by their leaders on the phone. They were completely in a semi-conscious state, and began to concentrate on blocking all the major highways and intersections in Yanjing to investigate one by one. There were already a lot of cars in Yanjing, so it wasn't easy to investigate. Even in the middle of the night, several major roads were congested, causing many drivers to wail. However, they could only let them down. After an entire night of investigation, all the major roads and intersections had no news or results. However, there were quite a few drivers who were caught overloading and drunk driving. These drivers who were caught violating the rules were all given the most severe punishment. Who asked them to be so unlucky to be caught at this critical juncture? But then again, if they hadn't broken the law, they wouldn't have been punished like this. Seeing that the sky was already bright, the members of the Dragon Fury team, who hadn't slept a wink all night, were a little listless. If they really let the other party escape, then they really wouldn't be able to find him. Matthew, who knew that something had happened to Su Yun, couldn't hold back anymore. He had sought out Wan Guangxiao many times, trying to persuade him to let him contact General Ade. He would communicate with him about Su Yun. However, Wan Guangxiao had rejected him very straightforwardly. He wouldn't let Matthew do this. Ade was a cunning old fox. Wan Guangxiao had also guessed the old fox's true intentions. Presumably, this old fox wanted to keep Su Yun alive. If he could use him, he would definitely be overjoyed. Xie could also use Su Yun to trick Matthew. This way he could kill two birds with one stone. Wan Guangxiao didn't want Matthew to contact Adler, because he wanted to prevent Matthew from being fooled by Adler. Teacher Zhao wasn't the only one who was good at fooling people. Adler was an old fox who knew the essence of fooling people. He could find a person's weakness in the shortest amount of time, and seize the person's psychological weakness in the shortest amount of time to carry out a psychological attack. This allowed him to brainwash people in a very short amount of time. Of course, Wan Guangxiao didn't let Matthew contact General Ade because he trusted Su Yun. Obviously, they couldn't find him. Maybe Su Yun was dealing with the other party in some way. This was all unknown. Wan Guangxiao didn't believe that the proudest of his soldiers couldn't even solve such a small matter. It had to be known that Su Yun had faced more dangerous situations than this in the past. In the end, didn't he solve them smoothly? Matthew, don't interfere in this matter, Wan Guangxiao said. If you treat Su Yun as a brother, then you should trust him. Right now Ade, that old fox, is bent on getting you back to the United States. Su Yun definitely won't let him succeed. I watched him grow up when he was very young. I know him. He's smarter than any of us think. He knows what he should do and what he shouldn't do. Matthew was stunned. Chief, you mean that Brother Yun was captured by their people because he wanted to do it first? Wan Guangxiao didn't nod or deny it. I'm afraid only Su Yun himself knows what he's thinking. I just think that with Su Yun's ability, if he wanted to rescue the hostages and escape unscathed today, it shouldn't be impossible. And he chose to use himself as a bargaining chip. Did he really do it on purpose? Matthew was very surprised, but he didn't doubt Wan Guangxiao's words. The Su Yun he knew was really that daring. Sometimes he even acted recklessly. But in the end, he could always prove to them what it meant to be daring. He could always turn danger into safety at the crucial moment. And this time, Su Yun didn't get out of danger at the crucial moment. Did he do it on purpose? If Su Yun did it on purpose, then what was his purpose? Was he so sure that General Ade wouldn't give him the order to kill him? He heard from Qianfeng and Hua Xiaolu that Su Yun's hands couldn't break free. What if the people who captured him got the order to kill from General Ade? Wouldn't Su Yun be completely in danger? When Matthew expressed his thoughts to Wan Guangxiao nodded. Then you can't let Ade contact you. Why? Matthew didn't understand. If he could get in touch with General Ade, maybe he could say something. After all, They had met once in the United States. He also knew that General Ade admired him. He could help Suyin more or less, right? Wan Guangxiao shook his head helplessly. It was said that people who read too much would become stupid. It was a pity that Matthew was so smart. How could he be so stubborn when it came to these things? He really couldn't understand the reason behind it. Matthew, listen to me. Wan Guangxiao said. Ade's purpose of capturing Suyin is you, right? Otherwise, why would he spend so much effort? Looking for excitement? Many people under him died. Those who were caught by us will be severely punished. He paid such a big price to capture Suyin just to use Suyin to threaten you. Do you understand? Matthew nodded. He could think of this point. It was because General Ade wanted to use Suyin to threaten him, so he had to get in touch with him. This way he could ensure Suyin's safety. You can't let Ade contact you now. Once he contacts you, he will have the value of using Suyin to threaten you. If he can't contact you, what can he do if he captures Suyin? If he can't contact you, he can't threaten you. On the contrary, Suyin is safe. Wan Guangxiao said. But once he contacts you, the threat really exists. If he uses Suyin's death to threaten you to do something you don't like to do, what will you do? Matthew didn't hesitate at all. Agree to him. As long as he lets Suyin go. Wan Guangxiao nodded and continued. Then if I were Ade, I would threaten you to go back to America. He knows that Huaxia won't force you to stay. If you say you want to leave, we won't force you to stay. Matthew was stunned. He didn't know what to do. With your relationship with Suyin, and the gratitude and guilt you have for Suyin in your heart, you will do anything to exchange for him. Wan Guangxiao continued to analyze. But once you go, he won't let Suyin go. He will tell Suyin that if he doesn't want to see you die, then stay and help him. Matthew took a deep breath. He didn't think of these things at all. This society was full of deception. He couldn't accept it for a while. Chapter 1438. Yinjing City had not been peaceful for the past few days, so much so that the citizens were aware of the existence of danger. If the investigation continued, it would cause social unrest. Therefore, this matter had to be stopped. For the stability and harmony of society, it had to be stopped. After receiving the order to stop the investigation, many people did not understand. There were people like Hua Leitang and Han Zhan who were silent. Even if they did not understand, they would still listen to the arrangement. Of course, there were also people like Qianfeng who were radical. When they heard this decision, they almost cursed. What did this mean? Were they going to throw their boss's life aside and not care about it? What kind of joke was this? Their boss had done so much for the country. Now that something had happened to him, they could not ignore it even if they had to waste more energy. Wan Guangxiao personally explained to them why they had to stop the investigation, but Qianfeng did not listen. Left with no choice, Wan Guangxiao could only order Qianfeng to be confined. Qianfeng was also stubborn. He said that unless he was confined to death, he would look for the higher-ups and have a good talk with them once he was released. As the leader, Wan Guangxiao had no choice. He could only pat his shoulder and hand this matter to Han Zhan. He hoped that he could persuade Qianfeng, this straightforward fellow, to not find trouble with the higher-ups after he was released. That would be defying their superiors, and would be punished severely. Being impulsive could even ruin his future. After all, there were many things in this world that could not be done as one wished. Feng, the team has locked you up for a reason. It is also for your own good. Han Zhan squatted outside the confinement room. I understand what you are thinking right now. I am the same. I am not much more comfortable than you. But I believe our boss definitely has more ways than us. I believe that he is blessed by the heavens. You are just deceiving yourself. Qianfeng heard Han Zhan's voice outside. He was angry and complained. You know better than anyone how our boss treats you. Now that the country wants to give up on him, you can tolerate it? Let me tell you, the team can punish him. They can fire him. They can do anything to our boss, but they cannot abandon him. What did he mean by not abandoning and not giving up? Was this what he meant by not abandoning and not giving up? Bullsh ***. Lower your voice. Han Zhan frowned. Things aren't as simple as you think. The decision made by the higher-ups must have been carefully considered. He definitely wouldn't give such an order so casually. Qianfeng didn't listen to any of this. I don't care if they've considered anything or not. As long as they give up on our boss, they're going against their word. Our boss has to clean up after them for so many things. If it wasn't for our boss, would the country be so peaceful? How could she abandon him at such a crucial time? I don't care what they say, I won't understand. I'm just like this. At most, they can just shoot me. Han Zhan really had to hand it to this guy. If you say these things again, then you'll really be shot to death. You're pretty good, kid. Every one of us, including our boss, ever since we became part of the Dragon Fury team, our lives belong to our country. If the country needs us, we must give our all without any regrets. A soldier's duty was to obey orders. This is our belief. How can you not remember it? Qianfeng was silent for a long time in the holding cell. In the darkness, Han Zhang could hear the sound of sobbing in the holding cell. These iron-blooded men had always bled and never shed tears. What did it mean to be able to shed tears? Han Zhang wanted to say something, but it was as if there was a fishbone stuck in his throat. He couldn't speak at all. He was also sullen in his heart. After all, the person who ordered them to stop the search and rescue was the person he admired the most in his life. He was his life and death brother. He was Su Yin, who had led them through life and death for so many years. At every critical moment, he would not hesitate to use his own life as the price to protect them. Although he had never verbally opposed any orders from the organization, and had always obeyed orders, his heart could not be changed. His thoughts could not be eradicated. How could he not feel as sad as Qianfeng? How could he not question and question like Qianfeng? Why did the higher-ups make such a decision? A decision that went against the spirit of never give up and never give up. Why? If it wasn't for his identity, his mission, and his natural duty, Han Zhan would really explode. He had always been the most stable of the brothers in the Dragon Fury team. If even his heart could bear such torment, he believed that everyone else would also be suppressing their anger over this matter. Besides them, Yumarin also fell silent after receiving the news. She had not touched a drop of water since noon. When the medical team leader saw her like this, he knew that she was not feeling well and asked her to rest. However, she did not return to the dormitory. She just sat in the office, not crying or laughing. She did not talk to anyone. She was in a daze. She did not dare to return to the dormitory because there were too many beautiful memories of her and Su Yin. These memories would probably be her belief in living for the rest of her life. She did not want to shatter the existence of those memories. Wang Guangxiao was also in a difficult position. He knew that the price of this decision was to sacrifice the emotions of his group of iron-blooded men in exchange for social stability. But there was no other way. They were members of the special forces. All the unhappiness should be borne by them. The common people should live comfortably, and they should live in vexation. In fact, no one was more vexed and infuriated than Wang Guangxiao. Not only did he have to do this, but he also had to control these men who had been tortured by psychological pressure to obey this damn order. In his position, it was even more difficult. It was really difficult, really difficult. Han Zhan had already bitten his lower lip until it bled. He was heartbroken. He did not know how to comfort Qianfeng, so he was heartbroken. At this moment, a pair of strong hands patted him on the shoulder. Han Zhan was completely immersed in his own spiritual world, and did not notice the situation around him at all. When he suddenly came back to his senses, he realized that the person sitting next to him and putting his hand on his shoulder was Wang Yi. Shizhuan. Han Zhan's Adam's apple moved. He tried his best not to let Wang Yi see his emotions. It was not that he was afraid, but he did not want Wang Yi to be affected by his emotions. Su Yin was raised by him single-handedly, and he was the child of an old friend. Now that he was abandoned just like that, the person who could not accept this fact the most would probably be him. Qianfeng heard the sound outside and knew that Wang Yi had come. He slammed his fist on the iron door of the detention room. Shizhuan, go and talk to the chief. We will investigate this matter ourselves. We don't need the police's help. This should be fine, right? We will investigate in secret. This will not cause social instability. Tianfeng. Wang Yi was silent for a few seconds before he suddenly opened his mouth. Tell me, in the entire Dragon Brigade, who knows Su Yun the best? Tianfeng and Han Zhan were silent for a while. Soon, Han Zhan's gaze fell on Wang Yi. Did it even need to be said? Tianfeng also replied from inside the detention room. Of course it's Shizhuan. That's good. Then I believe that you will definitely believe what I said. Wang Yi smiled slightly. He could not show the bitterness in his heart in front of these two wrong children in his eyes. I know him better than any of you. So I believe that this time, we couldn't find him because he wanted to do this. Otherwise, even if his hands were tied up, he would still have a way to leave behind clues for us. Do you believe that? This was definitely an earth-shattering and bold guess. In the detention room, Tianfeng suddenly stood up. He did not know whether he should believe it or not, but Wang Yi's words made him feel inexplicably excited. It was the kind of excitement that rekindled hope. Han Zhan also opened his eyes wide and looked at Wang Yi. He was shocked by his Shizhuan's bold words and actions. Could it be that boss really did this on purpose? Then why did he do it? Han Zhan could not understand at all. Chapter 1439. Su Yun's life in the past 2 days was not bad. At least he did not have to worry about food and drink. Judikin and Beeger took good care of him. Of course, this care was not voluntary. Of course, there were conditions. For the two of them to be able to avoid such an intensive search, and be able to hide in Yanjing until now, they really had to thank Su Yun. If it wasn't for Su Yun's understanding of his people's way of doing things, allowing the two of them to avoid all the scrutiny, the two of them might really have to waste a lot of energy to avoid these troubles. In the face of Su Yun's cooperative performance, Judikin and Beeger naturally had to express their gratitude to Su Yun through their actions. No matter what material requests Su Yun had, they would satisfy it. If Su Yun wanted to eat something, one of them would definitely run an errand to solve the problem. Ever since the first day after the search order was revoked, Su Yun said that he missed Quanjid's ducks. Judikin did not say anything and asked Beeger to buy some for him. Although there was no superior and subordinate relationship between the two of them, Judikin felt that he was indebted to Beeger for saving his life, so he did not hesitate to order him around. Although Beeger was not happy with Judikin's orders, he did not refuse. He also had his own thoughts. He felt that it was definitely a challenge to guard Su Yun alone. If he was not careful and let him escape, then he would have made a big mistake. Now that General Ade already knew that they had succeeded, Judikin wanted to take credit for it. The moment he escaped from the desert reservoir, he made a video call to General Ade so that General Ade could see that Su Yun was in his hands. Therefore, when Beeger went to sell the roast duck, he thought that if Su Yun escaped at this time, then Judikin would have committed a huge crime of negligence. The general would not let him off easily. Therefore, it was safer to run errands. At least, it would not be risky. After all, Huaxia's search was only limited to the people of the Dragon Brigade who were a threat. Because they were too dangerous, no arrest warrant was issued, so he was not considered to be in any particular danger. Even if there were a sea of people in Quanjude, no one could recognize who Beeger was. Other than the fact that Beeger was a little unhappy about waiting in line, everything else was normal. The fatty roast duck was indeed fragrant. The skills of the knife master were very important. He had to make sure that every slice of roast duck was covered with skin, meat, and a little fat. This kind of roast duck was dipped in sauce, added with a few slices of chopped scallions, and stuffed directly into the mouth of the thin round pancake. The taste was amazing. Although the food of the Dragon Brigade's daily was good, their roast duck. Therefore, when Judikin asked Su Yun what he wanted to eat, the first thing that came to Su Yun's mind was Quanjid's roast duck. Judikin and Beeger had not eaten either, but they did not have the time to eat by themselves. Su Yun's hands were still tied, so he could only order the two of them to feed him the bread. Su Yun ate the bread alone, so the two of them did not even have the chance to try it. It could not be helped. Su Yun was a VIP that General Ade had mentioned over the phone. He had asked the two of them to take good care of him. Moreover, as long as they served him well, Su Yun had no intention of causing trouble. He was very cooperative, so the two of them could only bear with it and let Su-yin order them around. In exchange, Su-yin was able to accurately predict the actions of their own people. This was a great reward for Judikin and Beeger. By the time Su-yin was full, the two Kwanju'd roast ducks were almost completely devoid of good meat. Judikin and Beeger could only hold a duck that was mostly bones each and munch on it. The two of them knew that it was not that they did not buy enough, but that no matter how much they bought, Su-yin would order them to cook for him. This was something that Su-yin did on purpose. It had nothing to do with his appetite. Take your time, brothers. How is it? Isn't our Yanjing roast duck the best in the world? Su-yin savored the aftertaste in his mouth and said to Beeger, "Give me a tissue to wipe my mouth. It's so oily and uncomfortable." No matter how unhappy Beeger was, he had to do it. Serving Su-yin for the past 2 days had become a habit for him. It was as if he was born to do it. Judikin nodded. Yanjing roast ducks live up to their reputation. It's the most delicious roast duck I've ever had in the world. Judikin's words were true, but also meant to flatter. He needed Su-yin to make some judgments, so he had to say things that Su-yin liked to hear. Su-yin shrugged. "I know you're the weakest. Even if it's delicious, I'm the one who says it's delicious. You're eating bones. There's not even a basic texture, let alone taste. How can it be delicious?" Judikin laughed awkwardly. If not for the fact that he needed Su-yin to lead them out of Yanjing, he would not have given Su-yin face. "Captain Yanlong, you don't know, but I've loved eating bones since I was young. Whether it's pork bones, cow bones, or chicken bones, I like to eat all kinds of bones. So I think this duck bone is very delicious, especially the burnt parts. It's crispy and delicious." "Aya, why didn't you say so earlier? I asked you to buy the chicken feet with pickled peppers yesterday. I almost vomited the bones." Su-yin said, "How about this, next time you buy it, I'll save the bones for you." Judikin's mouth twitched. But I don't really like chili. Then buy normal chicken feet." Su-yin was determined to teach him a lesson. Actually, the most nutritious thing is fish bones. Seeing that Judikin's flattery had backfired, Beagle mocked. "Yes, Judikin likes to eat fish bones the most. The sharper the bones, the more he likes to eat them. We all know that." Judikin glared at Beeger and did not continue the topic. He directly said to Su-yin, "Captain Yanlong, we feel that we have a good cooperation. Now that the search on us has been cancelled, it means that your people have given up on you. Just cooperate with us and tell us the safest way to leave Yanjing." "I said that they will cancel the search on you and give up on me," Su-yin said. "Only then can you escape unscathed. I can cooperate with you, but you have to at least tell me what you plan to do after leaving Yanjing, right? If you leave Yanjing, you still won't be able to escape successfully. Once I'm caught with you, I'll be charged with treason. That will be troublesome." No, as long as we leave Yanjing, we'll have a plan," Judikin said. "Don't worry, we won't let you be charged with treason." Su-yin smiled. "Since I've already agreed to go with you to see the general, you don't want to untie me. That's understandable. But I'll help you leave Yanjing safely, and you won't even tell me your plan to leave. So why should I trust you? As I said before, trust is mutual. There's no harm in telling you." Beeger looked at Judikin, questioning him with his eyes. What was there to hide from someone whose hands were bound and had completely lost the will to resist? Even if he knew, what could he do? "We'll take the water," Judikin said. "We'll go to a military base in Japan, and we'll be able to escape there." Chapter 1440. Su-yin gave him a thumbs up. "Your plan is really perfect. Compared to Jefferson and Christian, who fell into my hands before, you guys must be better agents in the eyes of the general." Needless to say, there's no doubt about it. Judikin answered confidently. He even showed off his Mandarin vocabulary and came up with an idiom to show off that he was better than the others in all aspects. Judikin was proficient in multiple languages, not because he received systematic training from the general, but because he was forced to learn it on the pirate ship. It was a skill he used to communicate with passengers on large cruise ships. If he did not learn this language skill well, the captain would make him die a horrible death. Beagle was still very disdainful of Judikin's showing off. Ever since they escaped from the desert reservoir, the two of them had been at odds. Although neither of them showed anything on the surface, Su-Yun could clearly feel the distrust between the two of them. All kinds of scheming were going on invisibly. Su-Yun would not expose this. This was his opportunity. The worse the situation between the two of them, the better it would be for him. Yes, Yudikin is the most powerful man in front of our general, Beagle said. Who can compare to him? Even if all of us combined, I'm afraid we won't be as good as him in front of the general. Why do I hear a sense of irony in your words? Su-Yun laughed and joked. Don't tell me you're jealous of him? Ha 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 ha, you're all on the same side. Don't trip each other up over such a small matter. Although Su-Yun seemed to be joking, Su-Yun easily achieved his goal. He wanted to unknowingly add fuel to the fire and create a strong sense of rejection between the two of them. Once the rejection reached a certain level, the two of them would naturally trigger a conflict that could not be ignored. At that time, there would be a good show to watch. Indeed, the reason why Su-Yun cooperated with the two of them to control him was because they wanted to follow the vine to get to the melon. It was no secret that the United States carried out secret espionage activities in various countries around the world. They could always do it without leaving a trace, making it extremely difficult for others to catch them. It must be because they could find a foothold in the countries they invaded to carry out espionage activities. The Americans' base of operations was in Japan. This was something that the whole world knew. The Japanese were thick-skinned. Although they had ambushed Pearl Harbor and caused the Americans to suffer a lot in the Pacific War, ever since the two bombs exploded in Japan, the Japanese were completely obedient. Now the Japanese were very close to their beautiful father. He didn't know if it was because the fear of nuclear radiation had completely conquered the Japanese, or if the Japanese themselves were despicable. If he didn't teach them a lesson, they wouldn't know what was good for them. However, this was not a secret. Although many people knew about it, there was nothing they could do without evidence. Su-Yun's choice to obey the two of them was a last-minute decision. Therefore, the brothers of Dragon's Fury did not know what he was thinking, which caused them to feel aggrieved. Su-Yun had no choice. He knew better than anyone else who was more important. If Yudikin and Beagle wanted to leave Huaxiao unscathed, they had to find their transit station. The transit station definitely existed, and the biggest suspect was Japan. However, before the two of them admitted it, everything was Su-Yun's guess. After all, it was not only Japan who was suspicious, but Korea and Mongolia were also suspicious. It was hard to say for sure in international affairs, and it was even more so between countries. There was no such thing as eternal enemies or eternal friends. Japan and America were enemies from the start. If one side completely beat the other, the loser would become a dog. There was also U Country, which was originally a friend of Huaxia. When U Country was bullied, Huaxia would also help. However, mad dogs were often sick. It was very likely that they would turn around and bite you after you helped them. When the forest was big, there were all kinds of birds. When the world was big, there were all kinds of countries. If the two of them could cooperate and focus on Su-Yun, it would be difficult for Su-Yun's plan to succeed. However, the two of them were now half focused on each other, and were wary of each other. Therefore, they weakened their surveillance of Su-Yun. Although Su-Yun could not do anything blatant, he could use psychological tactics and use the psychological advantage to break down the two of them. Su-Yun's words must have worked. Yudikin rolled his eyes at Bigger and turned to Su-Yun. I'm not as narrow-minded as some people. If they want to be jealous, so be it. Ability was something that was proven through strength, not through bragging. It's not my fault that people are jealous of me. It's because I'm too capable. Why isn't anyone jealous of those street people who rely on the government's support every day? The more they are jealous, the more successful they are. I agree with this theory. Su-Yun said, ability is ability. In that case, there really isn't anyone under the general that you would be jealous of. You really are the general's strongest agent. Maybe. Yudikin liked to hear such compliments. Although it might not be the truth, most people like to hear compliments, just like how most people would be envious or jealous of those who were stronger than them. It was a natural emotion. Bigger, who had been a little unhappy with Yudikin, finally seized the opportunity. Yudikin, you dare to admit this? Where do you put Officer Holly? Below you. Ha ha ha. If these words were to be heard by others, wouldn't they become a laughing stock? After saying that, Bigger deliberately showed off his Chinese and used an idiom to announce that his language skills were not bad. Captain Yanlong, is there an idiom in Huaxia that goes overconfident? Su Yun nodded. Yes, there is such an idiom. I didn't expect your Chinese to be so good. I wouldn't dare to say that it's good, but all the agents under the general know Chinese. Bigger said and deliberately said, but I'm not as proficient as some people. There's no doubt about that. Although I know the idiom overconfident, I don't really understand what it means. I wonder if Captain Yanlong can explain it to me? Su Yun laughed in his heart. These two guys were really interesting. Of course, there's no problem. Overconfident means that one can't accurately estimate one's own strength. It describes a person who overestimates himself. For example, a mantis trying to stop a chariot or an ant trying to shake a tree. What you do is overconfident. Oh, I see. A mantis trying to stop a chariot or an ant trying to shake a tree. Huaxia culture is really grand. Such an apt description is really admirable. Bigger said, it seems that the no doubt I know about Huaxia culture is just the tip of the iceberg. Bigger used the idiom that Yudikin had used twice in a row. Each time he deliberately raised the pitch of his words. This provocation was very obvious. Yudikin's face darkened. He did not even look at Bigger. He actually brought up Officer Holly. After all, Officer Holly was the general's most capable man. Who would dare to be compared to him? Humph, they were not even on the same level. This was equivalent to comparing an amateur boxer with a professional boxing champion. There was no comparison at all. Beagle was a complete idiot. Bigger, why don't you just bring up the general? Don't you think that comparing Officer Holly to us is an insult to Officer Holly? Yudikin sneered. You know that Officer Holly is not someone who likes to joke. Bigger was stunned. There's no need to talk to Officer Holly about what's between us, right? Yudikin, there's no point in talking like this. Maybe, but Officer Holly has always liked to chat with me. I'm really afraid that one day I'll accidentally say what you mean. Yudikin shrugged as if he was threatening Bigger. Bigger's expression was a little awkward. You know, I didn't mean anything. I was just targeting you. I definitely wasn't targeting Officer Holly. Yudikin snorted. You really have something against me? Bigger, you'd better think carefully. You were a prisoner of war. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be standing here. I could have not saved you back then. Do you understand? You owe me. Bigger turned his head and did not say anything else. This guy would definitely use this to pressure him. When the mission was over, he would settle the score with him. Chapter 1441. Cooking beans and burning bean stalks. The beans weep in the pot. Born from the same root. There's no need to be in such a hurry. Su Yun smiled and brought up Chao Ji's famous seven-step poem. When it came to Chinese, it was already very good to be able to use a few idioms. The two men were dumbfounded. They really did not understand the ancient classical sentence at all, but it was probably only the Huaxia people who could rhyme so well. When it came to language skills in the world, there was really no country better than the Huaxia people. English only had a few letters, and learning English was as easy as learning Pinyin in Huaxia kindergarten. Chinese, on the other hand, was much more complicated. There were Pinyin, simplified, traditional, classical, network. There were all kinds of forms. Not only could the foreigners not understand them, even the Huaxia people could not understand them. The new words that came out every year were simply overwhelming. Now even I'll treat you to spicy hot pot had become LF*CKU 13 times. The foreigners wanted to show off their Chinese skills in front of Su Yun, but they were just showing off in front of an expert. They were just asking to be humiliated. Yeah, there's no need to be in such a hurry. Judikin also did not understand the meaning of Su Yun's seven-step poem, so he could only go along with it. He just did not want to embarrass himself in front of Bigger. Bigger also did not know what "there's no need to be in such a hurry" meant. When he heard Judikin's words, he also went along with it. Okay, there's no need to be in such a hurry. Judikin, I don't mean anything against you. Before the mission is completed, let's shake hands and make peace. Captain Yanlong has been so cooperative with us. Let's not make a fool of ourselves in front of him. Judikin had indeed shaken hands with Beagle, but Judikin's ability to speak was a little low. What he said could easily be misunderstood. Perhaps he did not mean it that way, but Judikin deliberately left the words "before the mission is completed" in the listener's mind. What he meant was that after the mission was completed, there would still be a debt between them. This would definitely make Judikin feel a strong sense of crisis because he had gone too far. Only Judikin had seen him kill Yanni. If he told this to the general and the general believed him, what kind of punishment would he face? The general was not a soft-hearted person. Since Arnie was adopted by the general at such a young age, there must have been a certain degree of affection between the two of them. After all, affection did not only exist between a man and a woman, but also between any person. Even if the general was made of iron and had a heart of steel, after watching Arnie grow up from a child to an adult, there must have been some basic affection between them. This was not a good thing for Judikin. It had only been 5.5 years since he pledged his allegiance to the general. Although it was not the shortest time among these people, it was not the longest either. Judikin knew that Beagle dared to say those words to him just now because Judikin had caught on to his weakness. Now he was only cooperating with Judikin to find a way to bring the person the general wanted back, then expose him and let the general punish him. By then, all the credit would go to Beagle alone, and Judikin would not get any recognition or reward for what he had worked so hard for. Of course, Judikin, who had figured all this out, would never let Beagle's evil plan succeed. He would never give Judikin a chance to defame him. There was only one way, and that was to make this person disappear before he returned to see the general. They had not yet left Yanjing and Huaxia, and he needed help. No matter how cooperative Su Yun was, he was still an enemy, and no matter how scheming Beagle was with him, he was still one of them. They had the same goal and purpose, at least for now. Judikin was not flustered by the scheming of his own people. His mind was still very clear. However, only one of them was clear, and that would not solve their current problem. Beagle was not as clear-headed as Judikin. He could not sleep the whole night. Judikin was too sinister and too cunning. He did not know when Judikin would deal with him, so he could not sleep peacefully. He was really worried that he would not be able to open his eyes again if he fell asleep. It was another sleepless night. Exhaustion made it difficult for Beagle to open his eyes. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Both he and Judikin focused their attention on Su Yun. "Let go of my hands first," Su Yun said. "How long has it been? If I don't move, I'm afraid my arms will be crippled. The general doesn't want you to bring a crippled person back, right? Huh. If the general knows that you did this when he asked you to take good care of me, I'm afraid you'll end up making a fool of yourself. Your original contribution will be ruined." Su Yun's words made sense, but they did not dare to let him go. There was no trust between them that could be loosened. Judikin and Beagle shook their heads at the same time. On this matter, the two of them were surprisingly united. There was no contradiction at all. "After you let go, tie me up in front. Is that okay?" Su Yun said. "You can't be so inhumane. My arms are really going to die. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made this request. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself." Judikin looked at Su Yun's arms cautiously. Indeed, they were quite stiff and numb. Perhaps he really could not hold on. "Beagle, you're in charge of keeping an eye on him. I'll loosen Captain Yanlong's arms." Without another word, Beagle took out a dagger and held it against Su Yun's throat. If Su Yun made any strange movements, he would, "Wait a minute." Even if Su Yun struggled, what could he do? Beagle realized that he had fallen into Judikin's trap again. If Su Yun struggled, he would kill Su Yun. That way, the general would blame him. And if he did not do anything and let Su Yun escape, the general would also blame him. Judikin, I really can't be careless when working with you." But now Beagle had nowhere to run. Su Yun's arms had been loosened. He did not know why, but he was so nervous that his forehead was sweating. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Su-yin did not resist and let Yutakin restrain his arms. Captain Yanlong is indeed a trustworthy person. Su-yin smiled disdainfully. I'm alone. I can't escape from the two of you even if I wanted to. Your worries are completely unnecessary. Can you tell us the safest way to leave Yanjing now? Beagle did not want to stay in Yanjing for another minute. The people searching for them had not made any moves for the entire day. If they waited any longer, they would be worrying for nothing. You can indeed leave today. If you listen to me, you will leave the reservoir where the incident happened. Su-yin. The most dangerous place is the safest place. No one will think that you would dare to go back. Also, if you leave Yanjing from there, you can go directly to the autonomous region of the ethnic minorities. It's safer. You only need to spend one more day to go around Yanjing. If I'm not wrong, you will have to go out to sea at Kodo Island, right? Yutakin and Beagle looked at each other for a while, but in the end, they chose to believe in Su-yun. They would do as Su-yun said. After all, they had always trusted him. This last tremble would not make a difference. They would trust him to the end. Chapter 1442. Ever since Su-yin guessed the location where Yutakin and Beagle went to sea, the two men's trust in Su-yin was greatly reduced. Su-yin had too many ideas, and his mind was too agile. This made Yutakin feel deeply uneasy. After leaving Yanjing according to Su-yun's instructions, the three men rented a car in the Manchurian Autonomous Region. They waited until the sky darkened before they set off for Qingdao. Even though Su-yin guessed the destination correctly, the two men did not admit it. But it didn't matter. Su-yin had already confirmed their answer from their eyes. If it wasn't for Qingdao, the two men would not have been so surprised, and they would not have started to be more cautious of him. Yutakin drove the car himself, and Beagle closely watched Su-yun's actions from the back. Neither of them dared to be careless. Just as Beagle stared at Su-yun suddenly stretched out his index finger, slowly raised his wrist, and placed his hand behind the passenger seat. He carefully wrote in English in the air. Your companion is very scary. Beagle was stunned. He suspected that he was hallucinating, but Su-yun quickly dispelled his doubts and continued to write. Do you remember how he killed his companion? Your friend Yanni didn't even realize that he died at the hands of his own people. Beagle hesitated. He was a little lost. He did not know if he should tell Yutakin to stop the car with Su-yun's behavior. Was Su-yun trying to sow discord? These were all possibilities. He had been in a tense state for so many days. Now that he suddenly relaxed and Su-yun did these actions that he could not understand, he was naturally at a loss. But Su-yun was not in a hurry. He continued to write in English with his finger in the air. Of course, you can choose to tell him, and I will communicate with you. But I am sure that he will not believe you, because from the beginning he did not intend to let you leave Huaxiao alive. Beagle's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It was not that he had never felt this way before. It was not that he had never doubted it, but he had always refused to believe it. But now he had no choice but to believe it. Even the enemy could see this. Was he going to continue deceiving himself and others? What if Yutakin slit his throat while he was asleep? Would he start to regret it? Beagle, what's wrong? I asked you to take care of Captain Yanlong. Why are you spacing out? Although Yutakin was driving, he would occasionally use the rearview mirror to check the situation in the back seat. This was why Su-yun used the back of the passenger seat to block his hand. Su-yun did not say anything. Now, it was up to Beagle to see what he would do. If Beagle told the truth and said that he was making gestures to badmouth Yutakin, Su-yun would immediately put on a helpless expression and say that he had no idea what Beagle was talking about. If Yutakin did not believe him and asked him what he was gesturing in the air, he would say that he was gesturing with a map to calculate the route to Qingdao. If Yutakin still did not believe him, Su-yun could immediately draw several routes from Yanjing to Qingdao with a pen. By then, Beagle would have no choice but to believe him. Yutakin's suspicions would immediately shift to Beagle, and it would have nothing to do with him. No matter who suspected who, Su-yun had achieved his goal. The lower the trust between the two, the more advantageous it would be for him. However, Beagle did not do that. He chose to remain silent. It's just a headache. Don't worry, just drive. I will take care of Captain Yanlong. Don't get distracted. Leave it to me. Yudikin frowned and continued driving. He still felt that something was wrong, but he did not notice anything wrong with Beeger's words. Perhaps he really did have a headache. After all, they had been in a state of high concentration for so many days. Even if they were not ordinary people, it was inevitable that they would be distracted for a moment. As long as they could regain their focus in time, it would be fine. Anyway, Su Yun's hands were still tied, so there would not be any major problems. Seeing that they had reached Qingdao and found the boat in international waters, they could completely relax. Yudikin did not have the heart to care about anything else. He stepped on the accelerator and continued driving forward. Seeing that Yudikin believed him, Beeger continued to lock his eyes on Su Yun. He did not say anything. He just waited quietly for Su Yun to continue writing. Su Yun did not hesitate. He continued to write in the air. The onlooker sees the game better than the player. You are the person involved, so you can't see it clearly. But I can see it clearly. Yudikin does not intend to share the credit with you. He will kill you. Beeger frowned. He knew that Su Yun was not lying at all. It was very realistic, but he still wanted to know why Su Yun thought so. His puzzled gaze clearly conveyed what he wanted to express in his heart to Su Yun. Su Yun also wrote without hesitation. Because he killed his own people, and you are a witness. The reason is simple. If you don't understand, then you have wasted your years as an agent. No country, no organization, no one who kills their own people will be forgiven. Beeger was a mercenary. He knew very well that Su Yun's words were axiom. This was the bottom line that no organization in the world would tolerate. Of course, General Ade would not tolerate it either. He also knew very well that if he wanted to punish Yudikin after he returned, he only needed to tell the general the truth. As long as the general believed him, Yudikin would be finished. Yudikin naturally understood such a simple logic, so Yudikin would not let a witness like him go back alive to see the general. As for what Yudikin was going to do to him, Beeger really did not understand. Beeger did not want to become a sacrifice in the hands of Yudikin, so he chose to believe in Su Yun. No matter what Su Yun's purpose was, he would not let his fate be in the hands of Yudikin. If Yudikin wanted to kill him, he would not hesitate to fight back, even if it meant killing him. Su Yun saw that Beeger had trust in him, so he continued to pressure him. I know that you don't trust him anymore. Otherwise you wouldn't believe me. In fact, he's the same. He doesn't trust you. He's afraid that your existence will end his glory at the most critical moment, so he won't let you live. The Qingdao stop may be your final stop. Whether you can survive or not depends on whether you trust me or not. Beeger suddenly clenched his fists. Final stop? As long as he killed Yudikin now, everything would be over. He would no longer need to be on tenterhooks. Although the car was still moving at high speed, Beeger would not hesitate to make a move if he decided to. Seeing that Beeger was about to lose his temper, Su Yun stopped him as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the car flipped over, Beeger's hands would be tied, and it would be difficult for him to protect himself. Don't do anything stupid. He could see that you were distracted just now, which means that he's now very wary of you and me. If you make a move now, he might not necessarily be the one who loses. If you want to be tough, you have to make yourself look as relaxed as possible. When he makes a move on you, then give him a fatal counterattack. Then he'll be the one who surprises you, and you'll be the one who wins. Catching the enemy off guard was a common tactic used by military strategists to win battles. He felt that it was very appropriate to use it on Beeger. Su Yun was right. If he wanted to win, he had to catch the enemy off guard. Otherwise, with Yudikin's strength, he would have some reservations. Besides, Yudikin was very wary of him now. Making a move was definitely not a good choice. Su Yun knew that Beeger was already on his side. If you trust me, blink twice. When we reach Qingdao, follow my arrangements. I promise that he won't do anything to you. As long as you can leave Qingdao safely, he'll be of no use to you. And you'll be of no use to him. The two of you will have the upper hand if you make the first move. Beeger did not say anything. He blinked twice silently. Even such a small movement did not escape Yudikin's surveillance. Sleepy? Hang in there for a while. When we reach Qingdao, I'll find a place for you to rest. What was supposed to be a friendly gesture now sounded like a ploy to Beagle's ears. Rest well. What he meant was that he would never wake up again. Since you're so heartless, Yudikin, don't blame me for being unjust. Chapter 1443. The car drove all the way south. The closer they were to Qingdao, the more nervous Beagle became. He knew that the closer they were to Qingdao, the higher the possibility that Yudikin would turn against him. However, he would not be able to eat or sleep well when he was so close to someone who could kill him at any time. As they were about to enter Qingdao, Su Yin suggested that they go to the service area to get something to eat. It was already dark, and they might not be able to find a place to eat on Qingdao. If they went out to sea without eating, it would be uncomfortable if they encountered something. It was better to be prepared. Yudikin felt that Zhang Heng's words made sense. They did need to be prepared. After all, they were going out to sea on a speedboat. The smaller the boat, the better. That would mean that they would not have enough space for food and water. They would also not have a place to shelter themselves from the wind and rain. If they encountered a storm or something, their bodies would suffer without heat. Yudikin nodded and agreed with Su Yun's suggestion. When they reached the service area, Yudikin motioned for Beagle to look after Su Yin while he went to sell the food. Beagle nodded in agreement. After Yudikin got out of the car, Beagle looked at Su Yin in confusion. He knew that Su Yin had suggested this because he wanted a chance to talk to him alone. Beagle frowned. After Yudikin had left, he said to Su Yin, "What do you want to talk to me about?" "Nothing." Su Yin shook his head. It was as if the words he had said to Beagle earlier had vanished into thin air. It was as if nothing had happened at all. Beagle was stunned. Ever since Su Yin had said those words to him, he had become more and more afraid with each passing minute. Everyone had a certain mentality. For example, if one was not afraid of being stolen, one was afraid of being remembered. If one was not afraid of death, one was afraid of waiting for death. Every minute was torture for Beagle. Su Yin had suddenly given him hope, and now he had suddenly taken it away. How could he not be anxious? It was as if he was on fire. "Yanlong, you told me a lot just now. Now you've changed your mind," Beagle said. "Aren't you afraid that I'll tell Yudikin what you've said to me? If that happens, I'm afraid you'll have to bear the consequences. If you had any intelligence left, you wouldn't have done that." Su Yin said lightly. "Have you ever thought that even if Yudikin believes you, what can he do to me? I am the General's VIP. Have you all forgotten about General Adler's phone number? He will only find a way to get me on his side, and then find a way to deal with you. Because you betrayed me, he did this as a greeting gift for me." Bigger's face twitched. Yes, if he betrayed Su Yin, then Su Yin would definitely side with Yudikin, and he would be the one at a disadvantage. It would be the same as handing over his alliance to Yudikin. No matter how stupid a person was, they wouldn't do that. Besides, why are you so sure that he'll believe you? If he thinks you're up to something. Su Yin sneered. "I'm afraid you won't even have the chance to go to Qingdao. I can feel that there's still a gap between your strength and Yudikin's. If it's one-on-one, the chances of you beating him are really slim. The stupid thing is right in front of you. You can do whatever you want." Bigger weighed the pros and cons in his mind and finally bowed his head. "Captain Yanlong, why are you helping me?" "Because he kidnapped my woman," Su Yin said casually. "If you kidnapped her, I'll definitely work with him to deal with you. I'm a vengeful person. Even if I'm taken to America by another person because of this, I'm willing to cooperate with him." "Really?" Bigger asked skeptically. "If I believe you and help you deal with him, will you cooperate with me to meet the general in America? If I say yes, you won't believe me. But if I say no, then you don't have to do that," Su Yin said. "I can only say that after it's done, it'll depend on your ability. If I'm like now, I'll definitely have to go with you. But if you let me be free, I'm not stupid. Why would I go with you? What do you think?" This was the truth. Absolutely the truth. Bigger slapped his thigh. Just based on Su Yun's words, he felt that he was a trustworthy person. To a trustworthy person, he had to trust him. "Fiery Dragon, I trust you. Give me some advice. If I'm not wrong, Yudikin will definitely attack you at sea, Suyin smiled. Between you and him, who do you think is more suitable to fight on the sea? Yudikin was a pirate, and Bigger was a mercenary on land. With the difference in strength between the two, Bigger's chances of winning on land were only 30%. If they were at sea, it was probably less than 10%, right? Suyun's analysis struck a chord in Yudikin's soul. He said excitedly, "We can't let him go to sea, the sea is his world." "That's right." Suyun nodded. "Looks like you're a talent. You understand what I'm saying. As long as Yudikin goes to sea, you'll be trapped. You have to stop him." "But how can I stop him now?" Bigger shook his head helplessly. There was no way he could stop Yudikin. They were here to leave Huaxia. Stop him? With what reason? Suyin smiled. Of course you can't say it. He has to say he wants to stay the night. As long as he stays on Harp Island, we'll have time to think of a way. I really can't think of anything to help you now. Bigger shook his head hard. He won't stay on Harp Island, absolutely not. He can't wait to go to our military base. When he gets there, he'll make the biggest contribution of the year. How can he choose to stay the night? Besides, we can only go to sea at night. It's too risky during the day. If he stays, we'll have to wait until tomorrow night. Yudikin won't agree. Suyin looked at his pocket. Take out the thing in there. It might be useful to you. Bigger was confused. He carefully took out something that looked like powder from Suyun's pocket. He didn't understand it at all. What's this? This is the dirtiest and most disgusting thing I've found in various places over the past few days. I've saved it up bit by bit. If you can find a way to make him eat it later, I promise he won't be able to leave today with diarrhea. Suyin chuckled. He'll be back soon. I'll distract him. If you want to live, fight for it. If you want to give up, then give up. I don't care. You're going to see General Ade no matter who you go with. Bigger's mouth was wide open. He didn't know how to answer for a long time. At this time, Yudikin bought hamburgers and some other food and got into the car. He put the food on the armrest and gestured for them to eat. He also unwrapped a hamburger and stuffed it into his mouth without hesitation. Suyin smiled at Yudikin. Please get me one too. It's not convenient with my hand. Don't let Bigger get it for me. I don't like his hands. He even grabbed my crotch just now. Yudikin laughed and put down the hamburger in his hand to get Suyin some food. Suyin glanced over and saw Bigger smear the gray powder on Yudikin's hamburger without hesitation. Chapter 1444. Yudikin unwrapped the hamburger and handed it to Suyin. Suyin did not hesitate and took it with his mouth. Although his hands were tied, it was not an inconvenience for him to carry things. Suyin did this to divert Yudikin's attention. Seeing that Bigger had succeeded, Suyin was relieved to eat. Yudikin, who had no idea, did not suspect what he had bought at all. He took the hamburger and stuffed it into his mouth. Obviously, the gray powder that Suyin asked Bigger to give him was not something clean. It was cement powder that Suyin had collected from the ground or walls when they were not paying attention. It must taste extraordinary. Yudikin could not help but frown. He sniffed the hamburger in his hand. There was no strange smell, but why did it taste a little strange? He could not tell what it was. Huaxia's Chinese food is definitely one of a kind in the world, but your hamburger is far worse than ours. The taste is a little strange. I can't tell what it is, but it doesn't feel right. Yudikin said as he stuffed the hamburger into his mouth. Judikin said as he stuffed the hamburger into his mouth. He was so hungry that he didn't care about the texture anymore. But when he ate again, Yudikin did not feel the strange taste. He thought that perhaps he had gotten used to the taste. But even without the strange taste, the Huaxia hamburger was still not as authentic as theirs. Beagle had been on tenterhooks since the beginning. He was afraid that Yudikin would be suspicious if he smelled the food. Fortunately, everything went smoothly, and he could finish his meal in peace. They say that the seafood in Qingdao is very fresh. We don't have the luck to taste it. After Judikin finished his meal, he smiled and said, We'll be leaving tonight. Captain Yanlong, I'll have to trouble you to accompany us on our journey. When we reach our base, I promise to treat you with the highest standards possible. No matter what you want, I'll make sure you're satisfied. Suyin nodded. Of course I believe you. But we should be on our way now. The later we go out to sea, the more dangerous it is. No matter who accidentally falls off the ship, it won't look good. Yurikin glanced at Beeger subconsciously and answered Suyin calmly. Of course. Although it was just an unconscious glance, the person who was looking at it had the intention to do so. Beeger's brows furrowed in viciousness. Obviously, he thought that Yurikin's glance meant that Yurikin was going to sentence him to death. Now that everything was so certain, he could not blame Yurikin for not holding back. Each of them knew better than the other the principle of striking first and gaining the upper hand. What should they do next? Beeger was very clear. Yurikin continued driving. He was going to get off at the highway near the harbor in the south of the city, but his stomach was not feeling well. When he reached the exit of Qingyang, he could not hold it in anymore. He quickly drove off the highway and ran along the street to find a public toilet. Fortunately, he found a public toilet in a square. After finding it, Yurikin stopped the car in a panic and told Beeger to keep an eye on Suyin. He then hurriedly got off the car and ran to the public toilet. Beeger watched as Yurikin walked away in a panic. He was rather shocked. The thing Suyin had given him was actually so powerful. Wasn't this too unbelievable? What should we do next? Beeger asked directly, treating Suyin as his brains. Suyin laughed and scolded him in his heart. Do you really think I'm your father? That I have to answer whatever you ask? But this was a good sign. It meant that Suyin had used the fear in Beeger's heart to control his thoughts. It was too easy to use him. General Ard would never have thought that his shrewd agents would be so easily used by Suyin because they were wary of their own people. It was not that they were too stupid, but that they were too shrewd, too calculating, too sinister. If Suyin could not use someone who could not even trust his own people, then it would be a problem with Suyin's ability. Do you think he'll believe that the three of us ate the same thing, and he was the only one who had diarrhea? Suyin said. We have to do something later, or he'll suspect you immediately. Beeger had already fallen into Suyin's trap. It would be difficult for him to escape. There are two of us. Why would he suspect me and not you? Captain Yanlong. Why do I feel like this is a little complicated? You're not using me, are you? To put it bluntly, we're all using each other. Suyin. If you think he'll suspect me, then I'll really doubt your IQ. As he spoke, Suyin raised his hands to show Beeger his wrists. If it were you, would you suspect someone whose hands are restrained or someone whose hands can move freely? You. Beeger was stunned. What he said made sense. If it were him, he would not suspect Suyin either. Suyin was using someone else to do his dirty work. General Ard had told them about the 36 stratagems passed down from Huaxia since ancient times. He did not expect the captain of Huaxia's special forces to be able to apply what he learned so flexibly. He could use stratagems in all kinds of situations. Okay, then tell me what I should do. Beeger gritted his teeth. If he did not listen to Suyin now, he would not be able to get past this hurdle. I'll do as you say. How can I make him not suspect me? You know that if he suspects me, I'm dead meat. Fear could indeed turn a person's brain into a pig's brain. Suyin shook his head helplessly. Isn't that simple? If our stomachs all hurt, then he can only suspect that it's because we ate something he bought. He's already suspected the taste of the hamburger. Beeger nodded as if he had a sudden realization. That's right, if he had a stomachache too, then Judikin would not suspect him. Then I'll pretend when he comes back later. Beeger interrupted. If Suyin pretended to have a stomachache first, he would still be suspected. He could not care less about Suyin now. Well, when he comes back, just say that you can't hold it in anymore, Suyin said. That way he won't suspect you. Then what are you going to do? Beeger asked. Aren't you afraid that he'll suspect you? Suyin shrugged. First, even if he suspects me, he can't do anything to me. Second, the whole world knows that Huaxia's gutter oil and food additives are rampant. The people of Huaxia are immune to all kinds of poisons. It's fine to eat something that's gone bad. Unlike you Americans, who eat and drink too healthy. If you eat something that's gone bad, you'll get diarrhea easily. Beaker nodded. That made sense. Indeed, Huaxia's food could be said to be the most unsafe in the world. Huaxia's food would probably go back on the right track after she conducted a thorough inspection of the food and fired all the inspectors who covered up the falsification of the food. The people who falsified the food were hateful and deserved to be killed, but those in charge who gave them food safety certification despite knowing that the food was unsafe deserved to be killed even more. Damn it. They should go to hell and eat poop on the 18th floor for the rest of their lives. They should be revived and continue eating poop. Why? Because it was 2F** King wicked. So wicked that even their ancestors would be embarrassed. Although Yudikin came out of the public toilet, he was obviously still not satisfied. The feeling of having diarrhea was not pleasant, and would not be cured in a short time. It would take a while at least. Moreover, Suyun's special laxative was very powerful. Yudikin, come and look after him. I can't hold it in anymore. Beaker did not wait for Yudikin to come closer. He opened the car door and rushed to the public toilet. Yudikin was confused. Did everyone have diarrhea? Was it because of the burger earlier? Chapter 1445. Yudikin's stomach growled again, but he saw that Beaker had already rushed to the toilet. What else could he say? He could not possibly follow him. If he did, Suyun would be left unattended. If he ran away because of this, what would happen to him? The general would be so angry that he would find someone to sew up their anuses. Why did such a disappointing stomach have to throw a tantrum now? He had to keep an eye on Suyun, even if it meant pooping his pants. Your stomach is not feeling well? Are you not acclimatized? Suyun watched as Yudikin walked weakly into the car. Or did you eat something bad? If you eat something bad, you can't be careless. If it's a small problem, it might cause you to collapse and prolapse. If it's a big problem, it might cause hemorrhoids or something. It's a painful thing. Surgery is easy, but if you go to the toilet for a few days in a row, it will definitely feel bad. Yanlong, why are you fine? Did you do something? Yudikin stared at Suyun with wide eyes. Both of them had stomachs, and only Suyun was fine. He definitely suspected that Suyun had done something to their food. Suyun did not explain at all. He just put his hands in front of Yudikin for him to see for himself. Yudikin was stunned. A person whose hands were controlled could not have done anything to their food. What was going on? Was he really not acclimatized? Impossible. He had been to all the worst places in the world. Even on a plateau thousands of meters above sea level, he had never been acclimatized. How could he not be acclimatized to a coastal city like Qingdao, where the environment and air were not bad? Absolutely impossible. If I said that we Huaxia people eat a lot of gutter oil and are not afraid of spoiled food, would you believe me? Suyun met Yudikin's gaze and said, there are indeed problems with food safety in Huaxia. The law enforcers are negligent in their duties, accepting bribes, and the conscience of unscrupulous merchants are all very difficult to clean up. Yudikin frowned. How could he believe that? Suyun was fine after eating something unclean? Had his stomach been trained to be immune to all kinds of poisons by all kinds of food additives in Huaxia? Impossible, he definitely wouldn't believe it. It was too outrageous. I knew you wouldn't believe these words, but some people don't listen. I'd better pretend that I have a stomachache like some people. That's better than me running my mouth and not being able to cover up my lies. Suyun shrugged. Forget it, forget it. It's useless to say more. What do you mean by that? Yudikin glared. Who are those people? Humph. What did Bigger ask you to do? Yanlong, there is trust between us. You asked me to release the hostages, and I didn't even touch a single hair on them. I let them go just like that. I appreciate you and think we can be friends in the future. Don't hide anything from me. Suyun laughed. If I wanted to hide it from you, I wouldn't have said those words. You should know better than me what he's thinking. When we were eating, there were only the three of us in the car. I couldn't move my hands, so the one who could do something to you is definitely not you. Think about it, if you have diarrhea, when you're out at sea at night. On the boat, if someone wants to attack you, You won't even have a chance to resist, right? Yudikin's eyes suddenly emitted a green light. Suyin continued to add fuel to the fire. Diarrhea is not an illness, but it can be fatal. In your current state, you'll feel uncomfortable on land. If you're on the boat and someone really wants to attack you, how are you going to deal with them? The veins on Yudikin's fists were bulging, and his eyes were emitting green light. That bastard Bigger actually wanted to trick him. This guy really wanted to make the first move. Now that he hadn't even found a boat to escape from Huaxia, he wanted to play this game with him. Bastard. Fine, then don't blame me for not holding back. If you want to do it now. Suyin seemed to be able to see through Yudikin's thoughts. He suddenly said, his diarrhea is fake, but yours is real. And in such a situation, how are you going to fight him? If I were you, I would think of a way to drag things out for a day. When your stomach feels better, you'll teach him a lesson when we're on the boat. Yudikin suddenly understood. That's right, impulse was the devil. He actually almost lost his mind because of it. It was just that he was facing his own people. The more a threat his own people brought to him, the easier it was for him to lose his mind. This saying was not wrong at all. Captain Yanlong? I really don't know how to thank you, Yudikin said. I owe you a favor. If it weren't for you, I might have been tricked by that bastard. I'm not doing you this favor for free. Suyin was still trying to act innocent. I'm only helping you because you kept your word and didn't hurt the hostages. I see that you're a man, different from that bastard. But don't tell him that I told you about this. I'm going to pretend to have a stomachache now. If he asks me if I said anything, I'll say that I don't know what to say. Just listen to what he says and you'll understand. Yudikin nodded. He was now much more wary of Bigger than Suyin. Obviously, Suyin had grasped the psychological weakness of both of them and taken them down completely. Then I'm going to pretend to have a stomachache now, Suyin said. Yudikin hurriedly nodded in agreement, allowing Suyin to act according to his own ideas and decisions. Suyin immediately clutched his stomach and ran to the bathroom. He kept complaining that his stomach hurt and felt uncomfortable. Yudikin narrowed his eyes and thought, let's wait and see. You want to use Suyin to deal with me? Then I'll play a trick on you. Let's see who kneels to who in the end. Suyin ran into the bathroom and complained about his stomachache. When Bigger heard this, he quickly opened the squat door and came out. He whispered, "How is it? Explain the situation." He believes that we ate something bad, right? He doesn't seem to believe me, Suyin said. That's why I'm going to stay in there for a while. You go out first in case he gets suspicious. We've been whispering for too long. He'll definitely get suspicious. Yes, he'll definitely get suspicious. Then I'll go out quickly. We can't let him suspect us in this place, Bigger said. He had seen the bathroom before. Other than the door and window on the front, there was nothing on the back. They didn't need to watch from the bathroom. Suyin couldn't escape either. He could only go out the front door and climb through the front window. When Yudikin saw Bigger come out, he endured the pain in his stomach and said, "That's a lot better." Hearing Yudikin say this, Bigger also pretended to be relieved. "Yes, a lot better. Sai, it was really painful just now. I almost couldn't hold it in. It's much better now." Yudikin cursed in his heart. "Better your ass. I'm still in pain. I really don't know what you bastard fed me. If I find out, I'll make you eat 3 times as much as I did. I'll let you have a taste of this diarrhea." "Looks like we've all eaten something bad," Yudikin said lightly. Bigger didn't want Yudikin to be suspicious of him. Suyin had told him that Yudikin was more suspicious of Suyin, so Bigger decided to go with the flow. Logically speaking, Yanlong should be fine. He's from Huaxia and isn't afraid of gutter oil. He should be immune to all kinds of poisons, right? When Yudikin heard this, he was even more certain that Bigger had tricked him. This B** did something bad himself, and now he was trying to push the blame onto someone else. Yes, maybe the food was too bad, and he couldn't resist it. As he spoke, Yudikin's gaze fell on Bigger. "No wonder I tasted something strange. Why didn't you guys smell it?" Bigger was nervous. He tried to calm himself down. "I tasted it too, but I was thinking about getting to Qingdao earlier and leaving by boat when it was dark. That's why I didn't enjoy the burger. We should have left in the dark, but I'm afraid we can't leave now, Judikin said lightly. When he heard this, Bigger was extremely excited, but to hide it, he could only look surprised and helpless. We can't leave. Why? We have to leave tonight. If we stay here for a night, who knows what will happen? Let's go out to sea today. The sooner we finish things, the sooner we can feel at ease. When Judikin saw Bigger's insistence to leave today, he was even more suspicious of him. He thought to himself, I think you want to end me early so that you can feel at ease. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.